show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
struggle to rank up in Rocket League? Are you stuck in Diamond while your other friends flex their SSL title? Well, look no further. I have partnered up with LTXAcademy as a coach, and we are ready to boost your gameplay. With multiple tournaments and trophies won and thousands of dollars earned, I will tailor to your needs and make sure you get to that next level. I'm also doing discounted prices for the first 10 days, so you do not want to miss out. And you are also probably thinking,
CMOS, how do I book a session with you?
well, that's easy. Just open up that fancy browser of yours, type metafy.gg/@cmasorl_, pick a session to your liking, book a time, and bang, you're booked, and I'll see you in the call. Once again, that's metafy.gg/@cmasorl_.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. We're the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
Welcome back everyone to the RSC. We're back here with more play-in action, this time in the Master Tier, the first of the Master Planes to kick off their postseason. I'm Char, and joined alongside me is Danny Boy. How are you doing?
It'd be better, truth be told, Char, but you know, like any sort of Friday evening when you sort of look at things, you sort of going, I wish it was, because it's only unfortunately Thursday, but it does mean we do get the kick off the Master Tier play-ins outright.
Yeah, and if we take a look over to our bracket, we can see what we've got lined up for the night. Our first series will be that lower bracket matchup of Virtus versus Kazoku, and then after that, the winner of that series will be going through to face Berserkers to get to Sunday, yeah. And then in the upper bracket, as the last series of the night, it will be Firen versus Montezuma.
Was there plenty of action there, sort of all the way around there, and you know, speaking, I think it was with Veal and Hodge last night in terms of particular lineups and interesting matchups that, you know, potentially could be there on our screens. It's, you know, there's a fair chunk to break down, but you know, why sort of hog everything into sort of one quick segment when we can quite literally have two sides that's going to be on our screens near enough in a few moments time here.
Yeah, and just before we do get underway with the series, we do have to give some predictions here, and I think this match for me is going to be quite a close one. Both of these teams had decent seasons throughout. I feel like they'll both be fairly evenly matched, but I want to give the edge just to this Virtus roster, but I'm going to have it going all the way to a Game 7, so 4-3 to Virtus.
That's no secret, I don't care predictions. I really couldn't give a hoop about them, so you might as well stick 4-0 to Virtus as well. Simple for the fact is, why not? The unfortunate bit is I was also the scrim partners to the Team Serene lineup as well, so they decided to smash me around for an hour, so I didn't appreciate that either, so do you know what, why not?
Fair enough, and we do have all of our players in the lobby, and just a little bit behind schedule. We should be able to get this series underway. Hopefully a great series for us. The start of the Master play-ins, the Master postseason, the start of both of these teams' journeys, a long journey to go all the way, but they'll be looking to make that, but in that lower bracket, they cannot afford any slip-up. You do not have that extra life, and for one of these teams, after this series, they will be going home, but for now, we get underway with Game 1.
Game 1 itself should be an interesting feat as well. Unfortunately, both sides need to essentially win twice tonight to even see Championship Sunday. And, well, it is the Serene lads themselves that had somewhat of a sniff on target. Hasn't happened, unfortunately, as Nuke, who is quite literally the last second boy to the Master team after Spoods left the roster. So, you know, how well was he going to slot in was always going to be the big question. Well enough to slip in through 6th to get into the spot.
Yeah, and Virtus getting a little bit of pressure here, but Berserk can't get that one. Now Nook has the shot, but Charm saves that one away. This is bouncing high and long. There's someone there for it. Charm can pass it off to Berserk, but no touch coming through there. Kyron off the side while Alanis keeping that Virtus pressure on. Serene not really able to get out of their own half at the moment, it feels like. Charm 50s it on the backboard. Berserk has the shot, but Halo can just get that one away, but only as far as Charm, keeping that pressure on, taking it into the middle, blocked out. Alanis to the sidewall. That should be a free ball for Kyron, but not a lot of boost to do anything really with that one. Just throws it right back into the hands of Virtus to keep this clamp hold they seem to have on this Serene side right now. But that demo might help. Kyron taking it up the sidewall, has full boost, but Berserk is up to pre-jump. Nook can beat that one. Alanis though, the defender gets a really nice touch there. Now Nook is a bit awkward here, gets a slow touch to slow it down. Charm, not a lot of boost, but manages to get it past one. Kyron's there to meet it. Berserk looking for the Psycho. Not quite getting that one there. Maybe not his intention to score that, but he managed to get it away and keep it away from the net for now.
Well, no goal yet to be shown for either side of it, but you know, in these sort of type of matchups, you can understand the nervousness of it, but it's a demo by Kieran Jalode, essentially the silver carpet and the red moment itself. The mist has occurred. It's Halo with the opening goal.
Yeah, Halo just finds a completely open net off of that demo, and it's simple for a player of this level, and Serene do get the opening goal of this series, and maybe a little bit against the run of play, but there hasn't been much in it, and they'll be looking to keep going and capitalize on this opportunity. Alanis in the corner, looking to air dribble, but Kyron dunks him out. Now Berserk can send that one. Charm to Berserk, looking for the pre-flip, but just doesn't find the net on that occasion. Now Serene looking to counter-attack. Halo gets a high touch, but Berserk's there, clears it into his corner. That's a touch to the backboard. Alanis, though, can block that one out. A bit awkward in the net for Charm, getting chased, but manages to get that one out with the help of Alanis. Now Nook into the sky. Double commit coming through from Serene. This could be dangerous. Berserk, but Kyron does really well to recover after that double commit, not letting Virtus punish them. Now that one's floating in front of the net, but no Virtus player there to capitalize on it quick enough, but Serene may be looking a bit shaky at the moment.
Well, you could say that they're shaking off it, but they're positioned at least well enough to cover for that temporary sort of altercations that they've been putting across here. It's unfortunately dexterity that needs to realise to some extent here that they're in a match here, because their play's only essentially coming through one sense of attract here, where Team Serene's matching it well enough. There's goal 2.
Halo finds the net again. The 50 on the backboard from Kyron manages to get it into the middle for Halo. No defender there, and Serene, they get a 2-goal lead, and with a minute and a half left, Virtus, they have time, but they need to get something quick. This could be the start of it, but Kyron can save that one away. Alanis can't get that past Nook. Now taking it forward, gets it over one really nicely. Berserk
Quickly is what you would want in that sort of situation here, but finding that opportunity, and it's a save of the line here. That should have been 2-1. And Shireen's got away with that one in the nick of time here, but at this sort of point, it's game management that both sides should be playing towards. And for the opening one here, it will be Shireen taking the series in terms of the match. The first one of the series, it's usually not the match. They would want that to be the sentence of the evening so far, but too much ahead there perhaps. But either way of it, for the opening game, you know what, you couldn't ask for much more for both sides there.
Yeah, Kazoku do manage to come out on top, but both sides had their chances. Both sides fairly evenly matched throughout, you could say, and it just came down to a matter of who could really take advantage of those moments and really punish the other team for their mistakes. And in this case, that was Kazoku, and Halo was a big part of that, getting both of the goals, but his teammates got 1 assist each, so very much backing him up as well. A very all 3 players on Kazoku made an impact in that game 1, and they do go 1-up in the series, the perfect start that they would have wanted for, and already getting off to that start and that first game in a series is so huge, just to get off to get off on the right foot, especially if you do get a shutout in that game 1, because it is a good sign for the rest of the series, managing to prevent your opponents from scoring and keep that going for the rest of the series, you would hope, if you are the side of Kazoku.
Well, certainly so, and you know, when you are in the sort of the matchup, the sort of momentum and sort of the key bits of it, and you know, in the first match, you know, you want to sort of start it off right. You don't want to sit here and, you know, sort of, how can I say it, put, you know, everything all in one effort or one attack here. You got to sort of take your opportunities when they appear, but, you know, see what your opposition's capable of doing. Shireen's managed that well enough here, and by the looks of it, I mean, the Synergy's taking a fair lengthy amount of time here, not necessarily a pause or a timeout or anything, just to get towards the pitch here. So either there was an issue here, or is that just, you know, moment to take themselves out of the game here and reset themselves?
Yeah, and we do get underway in game 2 with a bit of an own goal there on the side of Virtus. Not the way you wanted to follow up that game 1. Halo doubles that one off the backboard, and Alanis just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Really unfortunate. Not much you can do, but the side of Kazoku, they will take that one every day of the week. They get a 1-0 lead very quickly into game 2.
And there's Kieran, one touch to the backboard, straight in for 2-0. It's wonderful to see when you get that sort of opportunity move across here, but Dexterity left that net wide and high and dry. So at this point here, you know, Shireen's be looking at this here and thinking it might just be an easy matchup.
Yeah, Serene 2-0 up already, and they'll be looking to continue this momentum, but Berserk will look to flatten that up to the ceiling. Can't get the double. Nook can clear that one away. Now Charm to the sidewall, but Halo's right there off the ceiling. Managed to get that second touch. Charm gets demoed, but gets the touch, and another demo coming through. Both teams getting a bit physical. Charm needs to read this one, but doesn't quite get it. No Kazoku player there to capitalize, but as I say that, Halo sets it up for Nook beautifully and puts Kazoku 3-0 up.
What do you want more? The AGM of Shireen just sits back and let Halo and respectfully Nuke to have their opportunity to thump another one in here. It's our good thing Shatter's not being the broadcaster this evening here. He'd be probably crying at the moment, but poor Stingray has seen many of years of his Green Phoenix's roster back up yesteryear to feel that feat here. But Alanis, he's back in the defence there that time around, get one touch away, and you know, if there's anything, if you're going to concede early, it gives you a chance to come back here. That's the closest they've been so far on a shot on target.
I'm sure we'll still see Shattered crying in the Twitch chat, even if he cannot do it behind the scenes, if it does continue like this. But that one might get him a bit excited. That's a passing play, and that is a lovely passing play. Alanis infield to Charm, back to Alanis to Berserk. The Kazoku defense just couldn't handle it. They expected the shot early, it didn't come. The last defender left in no man's land. What a play from Virtus to get their first goal of the series.
Certainly is. And it may just be a start, a catalyst perhaps to maybe propel themselves forward, but they need to get sort of the next goal to really make a count. If they sort of go 4-1 down in any shape or proportion, it will effectively mean for nothing here. The familiarity of scoring is crucial, and Berserkers for another one. That's two, and that's how good the opening goal where Ed was to spark something off there.
Yeah, Berserk gets that 50 and follows it up so well to read that off the ceiling and manage to get the shot into the top corner. A lovely, lovely goal on the side of Virtus, and they get back within one here after this poor start to the game. They managed to bring it back and maybe can get another one here, but they do not want to concede this next goal. They want to keep this momentum. 2 unanswered goals now. They don't want to let Kazoku come right back at them. That's a touch forward. Kyron has to connect with this one, but doesn't do so. The shot is sent across the net though and wide. Berserk pops that one high. Kyron's up to it, off to the sidewall. Charm can block it and get another touch into the middle. Who's there? It is Halo to clear that one away. Berserk, touch up high to the wall, manages to follow it as well, getting it over one. The 50 comes through. Halo collects this one, but a little bit awkward, just sends that one into the middle. Nook keeps the pressure on really nicely and gets a lovely bump. This is awkward, this is dangerous. Kyron can't find the net. This one sent right back away. Charm looking to follow that, but Nook cuts it off brilliantly. Kyron to the backboard. A double commit from the Virtus defense, but it shouldn't punish them. Berserk can get that one out by a bit of an unwanted double tap. Charm taking it forward. Gets a 50 with Kyron off the sidewall. More 50s coming through, and neither team really capitalizing and keeping the pressure. Both teams are kind of just going back and forth at each other. When one team gets an attack, it feels like it transitions so quickly.
How's that for quick?
Not quite sure what's happened there. Don't know where the Virtus defense was, but that net is just left completely open for Kyron to just find that, and from defense to attack very, very quickly.
And after going sort of 2 goals unanswered, they sort of help the stem at the sort of the bleeding, get that goal here, and they might just feel themselves sort of back into the game here. They're certainly been in charge of anything would be an unfamiliar feeling, and that will be to the back line themselves here. Serene themselves. Kieran has to go up for this one, does so, and it's essentially a 2v1 if they can get this one sliced right through. Kieran and Halo, wrong order, so it means it has to be a drop and a loss of possession.
Berserk now off the corner looking for the double, doesn't find it, but that's the shot for Alanis, and Virtus once again respond and manage to bring it back to 1 once again. And with a minute left, they have plenty time to get into this, but they cannot afford to let in another goal like they have been doing every time they score, it feels like.
Berserk, at least with an opportunity here, and if that's another one to be chalked onto the board itself here, then you've got to be a bit worried here. Demo a threat on target. Nix has played the ball into safety, It's not at least to get an offensive attack going, it's just to get the ball away from their own net here, because if they go 4-4, they might just allow Doubt to slip on in, and that's a dangerous sort of thought process, especially when you're in control. And Kieran, he's out of position essentially, so Halo's bailed him out once more, 30 odd seconds. If they can hold on to it, should be a 2-0 series here.
Kyron to the backboard, who's there to follow it? It's Halo, but can't find the shot on net. Nook can't find it either. A chance for KaZoku goes begging, but it might not matter. 15 seconds for Virtus to get back into this. Berserk has to get this ball up the pitch, but Nook just keeps that pressure on, and the time ticking down. Virtus, they don't have any sort of pressure. They need the ball in the KaZoku half. One last chance maybe. Charm bringing it forward, but Nook keeps that one and should be able to drop it down, and he does, and puts KaZoku 2-0 up.
Do you know what was telling, at least in terms of myself here, and unfortunately had the mispleasure, I suppose, playing Serene in their warm-up earlier. It was the fact that the way Nuke was able to drop the ball, and it was such a pain to read, and trying to save it was just horrible. The way that the last sort of attempt there was wayward off target here, whether that was deliberate or a bit of nerves here, if you're looking for a second of sort of a game of a player, the moment when you're trying to read a player, you might look at that and sort of going, there's an issue there. Is he the player so much to pull the thread and cause maybe a bit of pressure here for Virtus? That needs to be maybe a point they have to look at, but they've readied up, they've looked at and sort of going, let's keep on going, which is a bit concerning because they haven't looked comfortable enough to say they've been winning a match yet.
Yeah, 100%, and no timeout called from Virtus, and I think that game, whilst it was within one, they did have their chances, but you think after going 2-0 down in a best of 7, you'd normally be calling a timeout, but these players will know much better than I will, and we will have a little delay before getting into this game, just whilst we do get one player to restart their Rocket League, and we do have that player back in the lobby, so we will be able to get underway. No timeout call here for Virtus. Let's see if that was the correct decision and if they can get back into this one, because going 3-0 down and requiring a reverse sweep, Danny, is not something you see often.
It's not, but I mean, if you watched anything of the Elite stream yesterday as well, Team Serene's very own Akumi needed essentially a reverse sweep in their second game of the evening just to get themselves through to Saturday's championship. So the fact is that, we could see another one this week alone. It's not improbable, but doing it is the harder bit though.
Yeah, 100%, but they won't want to go there. They want to get this game. Berserk gets the 50. That one's dropping awkwardly into the middle. Halo saves it out, and Charm with the follow-up finds the crossbar. That was close, and that one doesn't find its way in as well. Alanis cannot slot it away, and Virtus already really should be 1-0 up.
And it continues, that's a strong 50. At least will bobble in front of the net. Shouldn't be anybody going for that, and Halo does, which is somewhat unusual. It was still always going to be above the crossbar. It wasn't dropping with great speed and a lack of boost there, but maybe the idea of the sense of if you do go for it, might pull a defender out, and Halo once again trying to salvage the attack from all the way backfield, and that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Halo, the mind games. You don't need to hit the ball to make an impact. Just fakes that one out. Berserk goes flying. Nook's right underneath to slot it away. A lovely, lovely play from KaZoku, and they once again take the lead for the 3rd time this series. They've always gotten that first goal, and that's what has proved so crucial for them to get these 2 games, and this game seems to be following suit as of now. But Virtus, how can they respond? This is a bit awkward here, but Charm can collect. Halo challenging right there. This one's bouncing high. Kyron should be first to that ball, but Berserk swipes that away, and now towards the KaZoku net, but Halo just takes that one off the backboard. Has the full field to go for here. Gets it to the backboard. Who's there? A double commit from Virtus. Kyron doesn't get the shot onto the net. Close here for KaZoku.
So the continuation of the play here. Charm's trying to remove all off it. Kieran with a shot. It will be not too much power or accuracy to really threaten the keeper there. Back it goes for Dexterity themselves here to get out of their own half, which seems to be, you know, just something that you can't do, something that's not achievable, as Halo has been so far all over it, and Kieran bottom left the second time does get it, and goal 2 in the column on the right hand of your screen.
The composure from Kyron there to shoot that one into the back post behind the defender was so nice, and the assist, the pass from Halo as well, and Kazoku continue their dominance here, but with just over half the game left, there's plenty time for Virtus to get back into this one, and they'll be looking to do just that. Berserk beat out by Halo. This one should be Charm, and manages to collect that and get it past another defender. Only one back here, but that one's fairly comfortable for Nook. Alanis now off the sidewall. Berserk has the shot, but Halo can keep that one out for now. Virtus keeping that pressure on, but Halo can't quite break there. Berserk blocks that clear, and Alanis now great control, looking for the mid pass. Doesn't quite find it, but Charm, the 50-50, find its way in.
Not surprised to see that happen. So Kieran do that a few times already this evening. That's a Virtus challenge, always facing... oh... Joe, it wouldn't hurt as much here if I didn't coach him for about the last year.
It's sad to see your work not paying off in that moment, and now Charm can equalize it up. A nice shot off the crossbar, just cushioning it with the bottom of the car, slotting that one in, and all of a sudden we're back to a tie game.
This is something that was eluding the series outright, and that just is a massive sort of horrible feeling from at least the Dexterity lineup, but you can also sit there from a neutral. You want to see a match between these two, and you know what, they've been so far sort of at each other's heels when they had the offense, and you know, it's nice to see Dexterity actually taking those opportunities, because game 1 and 2 we saw, you know, a few own saves off the goal line. If they went in, perhaps a different reflection to how the matchup's been so far.
Yeah, 100%, and Virtus, they managed to bring it back, but they need to take one more chance to get in that lead. They don't want to let up another goal here. Alanis can take this one forward. Not got a lot of boost, but Kyron's already up for that. That does fall to Kyron, but Berserk is right there. Nook can control that one and get the second touch. That's a pass into the middle. That one might just find its way in, almost, but Charm manages to get back to it. The 50 there, bounces high. Nook first to that ball, looking for it again, looking for the shot, but Berserk can keep that one out. A few saves coming out here for Virtus. They need to get on this offense and get that goal. Just under 1 minute remaining for one of these teams to really make an impact play before we go to overtime.
So at least a shot on the net there. Unfortunately not good enough by Hitler, and straight back it goes for Kieran, as he has to watch his teammates do the job at the moment. Shot wide here, and Charm backs away here for Alana. She takes over the charge here, back and wiggles his way to the midfield here. That, you know, a fact that nobody had sort of the third position there to essentially swing it on in, arguably both sides in the last set to play, is concerning here. So regulation not going to sort these two sides out, it feels like.
Yeah, 15 seconds left to do just that. Virtus bearing down on that attack. Berserk across the backboard. No one there to follow it up, and as time ticks away, it looks like we'll be going to overtime unless there's some 0-second magic here. Can anyone do it? Halo pass into the middle to Kyron, but that one will drop down. Regulation cannot separate this game free. We have golden goal, overtime.
And it's off the post, and it's off the line. That's another save by Dexterity. Team Serene's best player might be Charm, and that's a cool thing to say, but it's almost the way the series has been going so far. How many times will Serene essentially save themselves?
Yeah, I think Dexterity are kind of forgetting what net they're supposed to shoot on. You'd think by now they would work it out, and Alanis does just that. The infield pass from Berserk, the finish from Alanis. Virtus take game 3 and get within 1 of Serene in this series.
Well, certainly have, which is almost the big surprise so far here. And Joe Watts here, that's exactly what they need. You know, when you're in a series like this here, you know, it's just simply a moment where you just be looking at, you sort of be going, right, let's get ourselves back into it. You know, Serene themselves will be looking at circle. We could have been 3-0 up match point and to somewhat have a half an hour break going into the next series here, which may do some teams well. And Joe Watts, it's a strange bit how things are.
Yeah, and that was a very, very tight game, ended in overtime. Both teams really giving it their all. Serene, they wanted to go on quadruple match point. You could see that they were fighting for that, but they just couldn't get it over the line. Virtus managed to respond brilliantly, and they probably had the better opportunities of that game. They had many more shots, a lot of pressure, but Kazoku managed to be a little bit more clinical with the percentage, but in the end it was Virtus who take it away, and that is what matters. And now they get their first game in this series, they get a foothold on this series, and maybe, just maybe, they can keep the momentum and get back at Serene here.
It's the time to do it. You really want to get it just before the halfway mark of the series, and especially in the best of 7. Especially when you're going 2-0 down here, that sort of sense of, you know, getting a foothold, your first sort of goal, then the win, and everything can start moving from there. But you know what, Serene's already, like the last 3 games already, straight on the kickoff, straight with pressure and, you know, arse and dexterity to put on the attack, to put essentially onto the play itself.
Yeah, and nothing doing as of yet in this game. 30 seconds gone. That one is a first real opportunity, but Kyron can save that away. Now Nook gets a touch to his teammate. Charm should be able to collect this one on the backboard though. Looking for the air dribble. Halo's up the challenge, but gets it over. Not quite. Halo manages to get that one out. I was very wrong in that regard. Alanis to the backboard. That's a high touch. Berserk should be able to get that one. Gets a reset, but no follow-up doing. Halo, high touch. Kazoku bearing down on net a bit here, but that demo will just open the field up massively. But no one, who's back for Virtus? No one was, but Halo couldn't quite capitalize on it. Not enough boost, a bit awkward, and Charm manages to race back. But so far this game, nothing really to shout about. Neither team really making much happen here.
Well, it's just something that's not maybe a bad thing, something to be sort of quiet, sort of poised, and just felt like everything's...
Big clear coming through. Alanis gets that to the backboard, and Charm can slot that one away. And Virtus, after their comeback game in that game 3, they managed to open up the scoring and get the initial lead for the first time in this series. And that's a good way to do it if you want to get back into this here. And I'll keep talking because I believe Danny Boy is having some connection issues, so Kyron can take this one forward to the backboard. Can't quite get it. Nook touches that one all the way to the backboard. Berserk can try and clear that one out. Halo's right there. No, not all the boost to do much, but manages to get a touch. Alanis and Berserk getting a little bit tangled up here, trying to get it forward. This is a bit awkward, but Berserk met out. Kazoku keeping that pressure on, looking for that equalizer. Halo takes that one high, tries to get the touch, but can't quite get it. Nook looking for the sidewall. Charm can cut that one out. No one's back, but that's just a little bit over. Alanis now touching it forward. Halo can't quite get that. Nook off the backboard, trying to take it out, and both of these teams right now, they're just playing very end-to-end. Neither of them are really keeping that pressure on each other. No one can really get the better of anyone else, but Virtus, they'll be very happy to play this way at the moment
again
with that lead. You are back. Hello.
Hello, that was unusual. It's almost like they didn't want me to see Kieran lose, which is an awful shame, but that was an odd moment. But what certainly has been telling here, even though through the crash, thankfully I had my laptop on at the same time, is that, you know, the fact that Dexterity has came back is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, 100%, and they'll be looking to keep that going, keep this lead, and maybe get another one here with Berserk. The pass into the midfield, Charm just making it a bit difficult for that defense, but can't really make much happen there. Berserk gets a high touch. Halo now can try and control this one onto the backboard, gets a touch out as well, but not much boost to do much here. Alanis to the sidewall. Charm looking for the double, tries to find it, cannot quite find that angle, but Berserk is there to finish that one off. Charm couldn't do it initially, but Berserk manages to follow it up. Virtus take a 2-goal lead with just under a minute 20 to go.
Just ideal. And you know what, when you just be looking at this for a moment here, it's a similar situation now on Serene's lineup. They really just need to get a goal here. And it's more so for the sake of confidence here. As Halo one touch right over, and Berserk will move that one right across on target here. If Dexterity hits their shots, they're back in the game. Here they are.
And what a shot they did hit. Charm the pre-flip off the backboard, the angle, and that is the master tier for you. A lovely, lovely goal there from Charm, and Kazoku, they do not have much time to play with. Just a minute left with 3 goals. This is looking like it will be Virtus's game. They need to get something here. Halo gets that touch off the corner for the double. Charm can clear that one away. The time is ticking down for Kazoku. And they were looking like they're gonna go tied in this series. Virtus, a great response in game 2 and an even better one here in game 4.
Well, Halo one touch straight over. As much as the sort of the clocks ran out here, you know, you sort of be looking at much better games here. So we're alluding to the fact that they're going 2-0 down here. Dexterity, do you call the timeout? Well, Serene themselves, do you? Because you've just lost 2 on the bounce here, and you're essentially, you know, 2 games away here, but likewise 2 games away from winning it.
Yeah, we're back to even in this series. 2-2 is always a precarious but also exciting place for both of these teams. Both of them very close to losing, but also very close to that win as well. And like you say, do you see a timeout from Kazoku? I don't think we will, but that game was not particularly close. Even the 2 that Virtus lost, it felt like they were in it till the end, but it felt like Kazoku just got absolutely dominated in that game. Weren't really in it. It was all Virtus, and they've come back into this series brilliantly without a timeout. I'd love to know what adjustments they made and how they've managed to get themselves back into this and completely flip what we saw in game 1 and game 2.
Well, there's sort of 2 points off it, really, where sort of the first couple of shots that, you know, Virtus saved was their own against on the Serene net. And the second element of it, you know, the 2 major players of game 1 and 2 came from a carbon bomb to open the field up. The fact that that really has not occurred in the last 2 games just shows you the dynamic of the pitch. And unfortunately, sort of don't have like a 3D heat map here, but you probably could have a sense here that Serene's been pushed back deeper and not able to break out just as easy.
Yeah, and we are getting the players on the pitch for this game, and I'm not sure why we're still on that leaderboard. We are switching over to the game now, so we do have game 5 starting off here. Kazoku, after winning 2 on the bounce, they now lose 2 on the bounce, and it's all tied up. Virtus managing to respond lovely, and maybe a great start here, but can't quite find the net on that occasion. Berserk to the backboard. Nook can clear that one out. Alanis is up for it. That's a good mid pass. That's a shot onto net. Some early pressure for Virtus. Halo can keep that one out as well. A few chances, but Kazoku doing so well to keep them out, but maybe not for long. Charm to the backboard. Charm for the double, but another save coming out from Kazoku, and now the counter attack coming down the other way. From defense to attack, immediately I think that was another own save on the side of Virtus, and they get punished for it.
I have to say, it's pure sort of luck and fortuitous chance that has played out there. You can't essentially rely on it, and if Shireen really is playing smart about this, you should be playing this as if it's 0-0, but it won't be needing to pretend too much if that one falls on through. It's a good slice up the play, get the demo, remove a player, but you know, you've got a minute going off the clock. You've somehow got yourself 1-0 up here. Make the most of it. If you let the slip here, you would just may have a gut feeling the series will go against them in the long run.
Now a bit risky there, but manages to get it away. Charm back into the middle, but fairly simple for Kyron to get away. But Berserk has this, a double commit coming through. That's on the backboard, and this is maybe a chance for Serene to get down the pitch. Virtus a little bit awkward, but Charm manages to get that touch. Alanis, a touch out to the side. No Serene player there to commit to that one. Nook, touch forward, gets demoed. The 50 off the sidewall. This one's rolling into the middle. Kyron can't quite get that shot onto the net. Now, Serene keeping the pressure, keeping Virtus on their heels, looking to press that advantage. And Kyron can do just that.
Certainly has, but you have to give Halo the full credit. The pass wide open, gives the slot right over to Kieran, and Joe Watt here. The full right side of the net was wide open, but no, Kieran's got this, you know, favourites it seems to be bottom left and nothing else.
Taking this one off the backboard, Charm right there to meet him. Alanis, touch off the sidewall. Nook can clear this one out, but a bit of a weak touch. Berserk can pass that one to Charm, and the crossbar comes to Kazoku's rescue. Virtus couldn't quite capitalize, and they really need to start capitalizing on these chances. They cannot let many more of these slip away.
Oh, it was lucky that sort of pass didn't get delivered off here. They're all lumped together there. Shireen was one touch away. Karen's just popping that one set up. And Charm here with a free net on target, essentially, until Halo got back there. But he was low on boost here and was at least alert to the situation, so not caught napping here. But that's a high, lofty ball, and somebody from Shireen's going to loft that one straight back down to the other side of the pitch.
Charm now off the ceiling, can't quite get that on net though. Karen can take that one away, and under the second man as well. Alanis a bit awkward here, not a lot of boost to work with, but manages to do well. Halo now gets it over one, can't get the follow-up though, and this one sent right back down to Kazoku's half. Now, Nook looking to play counter-attack. This one is up the sidewall, off the ceiling. That one's finding the net! And no, Virtus Car can find the ball. Nook manages to get that one from the heavens right into the corner.
I'm just finding it hilarious that every ball now is Shireen pretty much on left side bottom. Have they got one training pack shared between all three of them here?
I think so. If it works, it works.
Oh, yeah, I have to feel somewhat sorry for Dexterity. They're covered every angle they possibly can in that, and yet it's the one side of it that moves into the middle of it. So hence, you know, it's one of those situations you're frustrated because you're sort of going, we've got ourselves back into it. Now we're suddenly trailing and suddenly going, where did this 3-goal come? Like, if a timeout doesn't get called here by Dexterity, something's wrong here.
Yeah, 100%. And with just over 1 minute on the clock, you feel like this game is just a bit too far gone, but Berserk looking to maybe get a little bit of momentum, because every goal can count for something. Even if it is just a consolation, it can provide just that little bit of momentum that you need, and Berserk does just that, finds that bottom left, responds with
Cheers. Hello, everybody.
We had our little timeout, our little coffee break, and now we're back.
Charm gets one back here, and 13 seconds left, 1 goal down. Crazier things have happened.
Certainly so. And there will be many laughter occurring, especially with Virtus, if they can get this OT into the possibility here with the 3rd goal. And it will be Halo Howard trying to remove that thought. That's a poor 50 by his standards. He knows that too. Karen will be looking at his 2 teammates to hold the defensive line. Halo's done his job. Nuke with 150. That should be game. And it will be match point to Serene.
I was worried I'd caster cursed them when I said it 3-0 up. This game is pretty much done and dusted, but they managed to hold on just about and keep this game, and we're not seeing anything yet in way of a timeout call from Virtus. And at 3-0 down, it looked like a silly decision, but they managed to get 2 back. So what is your thoughts on that decision, Danny? Do you think they need a timeout, or do you think once again they can respond without one just like they did earlier in the series?
I think it's just sort of the situation where you look at it and sort of go, your bottom left sort of trade impact that seems these both sides are going for is doing well enough here, you know, to keep yourself competitive in the series. If they went 3-0 down, you would imagine it would have been a called, or maybe frustration, just let's play this last game out, probably. The fact that you know, you're essentially, you know, within touch and distance, you know, 1-goal games. It's a strange one because I even disagree with my own point here. It's a 1-goal game, but it wasn't one. It was a 3-0. So why aren't you adjusting? But you know, if you can get yourself back into it, why change something? So the polite one, Char, here, I don't know. I don't have a good enough answer here.
Fair enough, fair enough. And we'll see if Virtus do know what they're doing and do know why they made that decision. I'm sure they made it for a reason, and they will need to get this game to keep their season alive. Kazoku on match point. If Virtus lose this game, then they will go home. But if they do get this win, then they will go to Champions Field, and we will go to 1 game with it all to play for. Kazoku, though, they want to get this done and dusted now. They don't want to go to that final map. They want to be in this next round as quickly as possible. Of course, the winner of this does have to play against that Berserkers roster straight after this, so it is definitely not over even if they do win this, but they will be taking it 1 step at a time, and they will be fully focused on this next 4 minutes.
Certainly hope so, because everything rides on it, and Alliance with no boost here. It's essentially a free range for Shireen to play it, and as Nuclear sits deep and back here, they're respecting the clear shot wide off post, and Alanis not able to hit the ricochet back on target. So that is dexterity with 1 major chance awry as Halo, well, he is into the skies here, allows Alanis at crossbar once again, and you might just have a gut feeling it isn't their day here.
Yeah, 1 major chance awry to 2 major chances awry, and you wonder how many that counter is gonna get up to by the end of this game. It's certainly at a lot more than that throughout this series, and that crossbar sound will be haunting these players and Shattered throughout the night, I'm sure, if they do not get back into this. But they do have more pressure here. Charm into the midfield. Alanis can't quite get the shot, and now who's back for Virtus? It is Berserk. Can get back in time to save that one. Alanis trying to take that forward, gets it past a few, but they're getting a bit tangled up here with each other, and Kazoku can get it away just for now, but Virtus keeping that pressure on, but that pressure means nothing if you cannot capitalize.
Here, over the Halo. That's such a key word. It's almost sort of the pivotalness of the series, capitalize. No sort of big capitalization they can get here other than that goal here. There's half the game gone by, still remaining goalless, but you know, Dexterity again have been the side that has chances yet to save their own here. That has been unfortunately their major downfall. It's Halo once more pushed and pressed, and once It has been activated here. It's Kieran to recycle the ball. Shireen does it so well, but so far here, the spark in the final third hasn't been just ignite yet.
Berserk has a free ball. Opts to just boom that one out, not keep control, but Karen booms it right back. Nook keeping that pressure on, but Alanis and Halo are 50 in the middle. That one falls for Nook off the sidewall, takes it past the one, looking for the dunk here maybe, but that one is sent right back. Halo has control here, a really nice first touch and a few nice ones to follow that up. The flip reset, Nook doesn't quite find the goal on that occasion, but Kazoku are knocking on the door a bit.
Knocking? If that's knocking here, it must be, running away from the door, ring the bell while doing it at the same time. They're scared to be caught.
Quite possibly, quite possibly.
That sounds like you were the one that used to do it too.
I'm not going to comment on that for fear of being judged.
Everybody's judging you at the moment right now. It's called commentary.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Alanis off the corner there. Charm can't quite get that one. Hodge, no you're not. Don't say that. Charm to the backboard. Can't quite get that. Alanis off the sidewall. Is someone there for the follow-up? That one goes a begging. Berserk into the corner looking for the double. Doesn't quite get it, but Alanis there to follow it up. Kazoku keep it out, but how many more times can Versus get the shot onto the net without it finding the back of it?
That's a very good question, and Shireen forgot how to score. They were sort of tangled up like shoelaces and just tripped over themselves here. Unfortunate as may be, we might actually head to another OT here, and Shireen would not be the happier of the two. They don't have the track record so far this series, as well as probably the season 2, as Halo will have probably the last attack here.
Yeah, can't make anything of that though. And barring any 0-second miracles here, it doesn't look like we will be having any of those. These teams cannot be separated in regulation once again. I'm not gonna lie, I'd completely lost track of the time. That did not feel like 5 minutes, but we do find our way into overtime, and a 0-0 overtime here. Neither team being able to break that deadlock, although it felt like it really should have been broken, especially by Virtus, but they cannot concede next, because if they do, their season is over.
Such a cruelty that the play-ins has to start with somebody being knocked out already. That's a shot on target, and Kieran's with the vision to send that one through. And I'll say this as well, there's no GGs by the end of this one. A night of frustration by Dexterity's side.
Yeah, Virtus couldn't get it done in the end, and Kazoku managed to finish it out in Game 6. Did not need the full 7 games to get this series done, and they will be going into the next round to face that Team Berserkers team very soon after this. But for Virtus and Dexterity in the Master Tier, that is where their journey will end, and a fairly even series as things go. Virtus maybe having the better of the shots there, but doesn't really matter if you cannot convert, and that really felt like what they missed out on in that series. They just could not convert their chances, and they were simply just not clinical enough to stay in the tournament.
That just haven't been, and it's why I cannot stand statistics, especially when it comes from playing the playoffs in any shape or form. Yes, they give you an indicator, but if you look at that there on paper, you'd be going, well, Dexterity was really rampant for the majority of it, but let's look at the key one, how many series and how many goals. They didn't have that enough to get through the series, and they'll look at it and start going, do you know what? Shireen just might fancy going into the next series and hoping that they could maybe just cause the same upset pattern here.
Yeah, 100%. And post-series MVP, not really any surprise to me. Halo does pick that one up. and a great performance from him and a great performance from all three of those players on Kazoku. And like you said, the statistics do not speak the full story in that series. Kazoku, they kind of let up a lot of that pressure, but again, you maybe cannot rely on that in every series. Rely on Virtus kind of playing their own downfall at times, albeit Kazoku's defense was standing tall at times, but a lot of times it felt like Virtus were the ones missing those shots and Virtus were the ones getting those saves for Kazoku. So you can't really rely on that in future series, but for now it has worked and they have gone through to the next round.
Certainly have as well, and you know, roughly speaking, is about 3 minutes away here, the next series. So Geo watch here. I think we may as well sort of wrap it up quick here, Char, because Shireen probably don't want to wait too much longer. They've got the momentum, and the other side will probably be finishing their scrim just shortly. Thankfully, probably not against me, they'll be saying. So, any final words here?
Well, the warm-up obviously worked. The Danny Boy warm-up obviously worked. Serene go through to face Berserkers. That series will be coming up very shortly, but for now we will go to a very short break, but make sure you don't go anywhere because we'll be right back at you with some more Rocket League action.
Are you stuck in Diamond while your other friends flex their SSL title? Well, look no further. I have partnered up with LTXAcademy as a coach, and we are ready to boost your gameplay. With multiple tournaments and trophies won and thousands of dollars earned, I will cater to your needs and make sure you get to that next level. I'm also doing discounted prices for the first 10 days, so you do not want to miss out. And you are also probably thinking,
CMOS, how do I book a session with you?
well, that's easy. Just open up that fancy browser of yours, type metafy.gg/@cmasorl_, pick a session to your liking, book a time, and bang, you're booked, and I'll see you in the call. Once again, that's metafy.gg/@cmasorl_.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. We're the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still. Hanging
Storm meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you
Welcome
Ladies
back
and-
here. Oh,
Are we having a scrap? No, you can have it. Go for it.
Okay, I'll take it. I'm
Rerun
sorry.
the intro. The players aren't here. Quick, take two.
Welcome back to RSC here. I'm joined by Danny, who just casted the last series. I am Veiled, and we have Berserkers versus Kazuku here. And before we do anything else, first off, let me shout out Big Chaps doing the streaming on behind the scenes. And before we do any of our predictions or anything of that, I just want to predict Danny Boy's predictions real quick, because that's a segment I kind of like here. I think he's gonna go for Berserkers. With that said, we can move on. Danny Boy, how has it been casting the last series?
Just before you say anything, I sent Chubbs a prediction for this series.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know I did send one. But how I'm doing, I'm miserable, I'm grumpy, but I'm here and hopefully bring a bit of joy to everybody else. But other than that, how are you, Veal?
I'm doing well. I just cast the series over at RL Norway. Was very much hoping it didn't go all the distance. It did not, which means I am here to join you on time today. And can we get some playoff bracket on the screen so we can go over what we've seen earlier on today?
Be awkward, go on, say no. He said yes by the looks of things, but fair enough. But you know, the bracket as it is, we've only had one match so far, Veal.
Yeah, and it was versus Kazuku, which you had to cast, and Kazuku taking that 4-2. And I did manage to catch a glimpse on your prediction going against Kazuku, so I don't think you've gotten a single prediction correctly. Not that you care. I just wanted to point out.
I'm the worst caster ever. I haven't got a prediction right.
And of course, right now we have Berserkers versus Kazuku, and I believe at the end of the night we will have Fire In versus Montezuma. And the loser of that will play the winner of this series, so that will be interesting to see. But without further ado, I did look at the season statistics between the teams, and Berserkers had a 7 goal differential, and Kazuku had about a 20, an 18 goal differential, so not much to split them. They were of course in different conferences here, Danny. However, talk me through it. What did you see from Kazuku? Anything to show you that maybe they could take the series here?
I don't.
You don't? Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let's get some predictions so we're going really quick so we can get into the game. I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna say 4-2 to Kazuku, I think. No, actually 4-3. 4-3. That was what I was gonna go with, so I'm gonna stick with that gut. 4-3 to Kazuku. What about you, Danny?
Well, I've gone quite literally for a thrashing to Team Serene, a 5-0 in a best of 7.
I've thrown my prediction off my prediction. That's crazy. Well, Danny boy, supporting Team Serene for once here on stream. That is interesting.
Excuse me, that's the wrong way around. I've just said against Team Serene. Even the broadcasters are saying I'm going against the prediction that's not really a prediction.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah, you were
Beautiful.
right, but
Beautiful. And just to top it off here, you might be right, because Berserkers have thrown in an absolute screamer off that kickoff, Danny. Just goes flying to the left. Ibby gets up to it very nice and early. Crossbar down. Beautiful Rocket League. Wouldn't you say so?
yes, sure, why not?
Let's go. I got an answer that wasn't a no, Danny. This is new. This is very new.
It's unknown territory for the entirety of RSC. What's next now?
Yeah, we already have some new records being set today. Of course, Danny Boy replying with a yes. Slayer Crime gonna try and make it another one. I believe seeing him all the way back in the tryouts in preseason, where he did make a bit of an impression. This time, though, not able to find the back of the net. Ibby gonna follow this one up. It will just drop to Halo. He will be able to carry that one forward. Will beat his man. Could maybe make a chance here. It's gonna be Ibby making it happen for him. But Slayer Crime is gonna be able to cut that one out very nice and early on. It is gonna be Ibby just kind of passing the ball back a little bit here. And even though we saw him score the first goal here, I think it's been looking a bit scrappy from him since. It looks like he's been a bit of a double agent here.
Double agent, is he wearing a tuxedo? Do we have player comms on?
Doesn't look like there is any cams.
That's a shame. We could have, our first ever RSC007, but I think league play is unfortunately over for that particular sets of conversation. But Joe, what has been a major difference so far here is between the last series and now is that dexterity allows Serene to get into it. Berserkers, on the other hand, however, has essentially played Serene's game plan from the beginning, hit on the counter.
Yeah. And it's worked for them so well, at least from the kickoff goal. I don't think we can count that as open play making things happen. This one could change things up. It's a good pass, but the shot just not really good enough. And with 3 defenders in net, it really has to be that way if you want to get a goal from it. However, it's going to be Team Serene on possession here. Kyron unable to get it past Cal. It's going to be Nook here. Gonna take a nice touch forward. He will get the follow up here. It will drop to Halo, I believe. If he can get the beat out to Cal, he will. Slayer Crime, though, not too fussed about that one. We'll just take it forward, and we'll be Cal trying to relay it off. But that offense pretty much dead already.
Alright, one touch here, and at least gets passed on it, but Berserkers essentially played the position well enough. That's a mistake, really, by Slayer Clam. It's a freebie to Northwind here, but Serene's going to be their major problem is how far do they push up the field. We've seen how their attack has been so far. It hasn't been ideal, and Halo's gifted that one away. So, with half the game essentially so here, it will take a while here for Serene to get going.
Yeah, but that chance was really good. The shot just saved away by Cal. Nook is going to cut this one in. Is going to be able to follow it up as well, and even throw a shot on target, but it's saved away by Ibby. Halo's going to keep it in, though. That's a good beat. If only he had a teammate that was playing that beat, it could have maybe been a goal.
If only I had a teammate. Is that your new album?
Maybe.
If only I had a friend, would it be mine?
Yeah, maybe we can make a gang and, well, not necessarily a gang in that chance, but we could...
Do you mean duet there?
Yeah, exactly. We could make a duet. We can make the 2 lead songs in our first 2 albums. If only I had a friend and if only I had a teammate. Doesn't look like Kazuku can do the same so far. Ibby gonna take this one to the side. But it's just gonna be a pass to Halo, and it's quite open, but a save by Slayer Crime to nullify things once again. And now Kazuku finds themselves making it pretty easy for Berserkers to get a counter. However, they get away with it this time.
One pop, and that hasn't happened here. I think Serene's will be hoping for we need a goal, and that's unfortunately hasn't occurred here. Maybe with one touch in Karen it's not necessarily going to find a team. It's a good fit in the grand scheme of things, but look at the way how the ball's just being filtered across here by, Berserkers who've just got it shifted to the side, and more importantly to a second or third man rotation to simply whip the away here. Shireen has got no answer so far.
Yeah, I'm just trying to analyze what I'm seeing here, Danny, and I'm struggling because it looks like Team Serene are really having a tough time passing it to their teammates.
I honestly thought you were about to say, as I was trying to analyze what you said, I didn't understand the accent there.
No. I've talked to you quite a bit throughout the time, Danny, and even though it was a bit hard in the beginning, I feel like I am starting to get the hang of it, and even if I don't, I just pretend that I do. So don't worry about that. Hello, gonna try and set up Kyron for one single last counter attempt here. It's not gonna find its way through. Cal's gonna carry it forward, making it even more difficult, and it will just hit the ground here. Not much convincing play from either side here, but it will be Berserkers taking it, of course, from that first kickoff in this game, Danny. And I don't really know how to analyze this game because neither team really scored any open play goals. So,
well, how do you analyze that sort of game? And well, you just have to look at it and you just sort of going, well, sort of what were the major factors, or how do you assess it? Well, the first bit off in terms of his chances, the fact is that you sat there and said it. Hasn't really been much from open play. It's not necessarily been scrappy. They've had at least a few numbers indicating shots that went on target, but the fact that it's not memorable would indicate here that creativity is the major element missing from the game here, and arguably from Shireen here, Veal. What are they going to do to approach it that is something that will give inspiration? Have they given us any?
I wasn't too fussed with the follow-ups. I think that's where it went wrong, because creativity-wise, they did make chances happen, but it was just the follow-ups either wasn't there or they were way too slow. And that might have been because, as you said, I wasn't really watching the last series because I was casting myself. But you made it sound like it was Team Serene having a very strong offense, but then getting caught on the counter. And it might be a case of they're trying to make up for that for that not necessary mistake, but that weakness in their gameplay that they've been playing too defensively in this series going into first game.
That's our shuffle in terms of player positioning, in terms of what they are going to do, whether offensively or defensively, whether on the ball or not. That's going to be sort of a dice, really, in terms of how do you want to roll it here. And once again, Shireen drops back here. Berserker's happy to essentially allow them to do so because they didn't hit them with any power or burst of speed here. As Halo up it goes here, and it's a very much sort of a flat ball. It's only getting past the second or third man, or more importantly, the first. So it's allowing essentially Berserkers to pop that ball right back at them.
Yep, here Kyron is going to try and be that creative engine we've been looking for. He will get a nice little pop, but it will be Slayer Crime with a really good 50 challenge there. Gets all of the ball with him, and Ibby to take a little bit of a shot on target. But it will be cleared away. Now Kyron is going to try and dunk Ibby here. Won't do so, but it is going to be forced to nuke. Going to take it to the corner here. It is going to be passed straight down to Halo, and that's the first dangerous chance we've seen from Serene, and it does lead to a goal here.
Last season's former player of the season, essentially the villain that was known for the top striker in the form of Kieran. Well, he grabs it here and leads it right through. Maybe taking inspiration to the likes of Slumpy's performance to get Shireen over the line here. It was a reverse sweep to get themselves into that situation. It'll be essentially a similar performance here required to get at least a game on the board.
Indeed, and it's going to be Slayer Crime here. Gonna try and get a chance back here, but he does get beat by Halo. Takes one out early on. Will carry it across over on top of the first one, and that sets up Nuke from that ceiling pinch. Just buries that one in the back of the net, and all of a sudden Team Serene might have looked like they actually listened to what I was saying in their analysis, and they absolutely bury that one, Danny. 2 goals on the board for them now.
Can anybody reach out for your coaching service by any chance?
Yes, of course. We can figure something out.
Twitter, Discord, what's the handles to reach you out there?
Well, Discord, I am veiled with an 1 instead of an L.
Did you
And
forget
Twitter,
your name there for a second?
I forgot what my tag was because I just call, it's just veiled, but of course my Discord tag is a little bit different. But if you want me to coach you, just let me know. But
Well, coaches all around RSC. Vale, of course, be looking to add to the lineup that he's currently managing this season, perhaps into the future too. But what will certainly be nursing here is this ball into the back of the net. Shireen's not careful here. That's a loose play. The Berserkers, they are 2-0 down. Trying to find that opening goal in the second game to suddenly find themselves to put Shireen to essentially feel a sense of sweat coming on their eyebrows.
yeah, Kyron with a big bang here, but it's gonna drop to Slayer Crime. He's gonna try and fake out that player, not able to do so. Ippy is gonna make it a bit sketchy for himself. That's a very good cutout by Halo, because that was looking like a dangerous counter out of nowhere. Cal is gonna force it down, but just gets a bad touch at the end to force it through, and Slayer Crime is just gonna try and delay it for Ippy. Does so very well though. Kyron on the follow-up here. It has to be Nook now. Gonna bang it forward, but with no boost to follow that one, I'm pretty sure that it's just gonna be a counter here. Slayer Crime now has a lot of time to work with, but a very good challenge. Sees it now drop into Ippy in the corner. An even better challenge by Halo. Now Slayer Crime trying once again, but just gets shot down. These solo plays haven't really led to much here, Danny.
Sorry, those chances you're alluding to, yep. As much as you can see them happening on your screens, your 1, 2, 3, they easily sort of stack up here. But I mean, the impression of the first game that you sort of allowed us to have that was being formed here, that there wasn't much there. Yeah, it's just sort of like a puff of smoke here. Yes, it's substance, but you know, water and fog is essentially the same thing here. A few water droplets difference, and you might have ice. Question is, who has it? And the Halo certainly has that one. 3-0.
Yeah, indeed. And how did that happen? It was Kyron, and it was just a bad clearance really from Slayer Crime, and Halo is just right there in the moment, and he doesn't count his blessings. He just buries it, and it's good to see, because that was what I was missing from Team Serene in the first game, and they really have showed up in the second game.
Was that a sense of I'm missing the Serene sort of family a wee bit there, that?
Maybe. I mean, I've always made it be known, especially to Luke, that I do appreciate seeing Team Serene doing well. I was absolutely over the moon when they took that prospect trophy this season, so it's not a secret. However, I have been managing my own franchise, so I have to side with them whenever we face. Like yesterday, where you had to cast that series, I believe, Shadow versus Team Serene.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure I predicted Shadow to win that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that series, okay, Danny?
That's all right. We shall move swiftly on, as Karen will have at least that shot. He's put away quite comfortably to the corner, but with about 30 seconds, easily dwindles down to 10 there. It will be at least Team Serene on the board. One apiece, more importantly, and you'll watch here. This is somewhat the series that we expected against Dexterity unfolding on our hands here. A much more even poise.
Yeah. Will they get one here at the end, though? Not to be. It will be Kazuku evening up this series with a 3-goal lead in Game 2. And if anything is a takeaway from this game, it is in Game 1, we had 1 goal. It was a kickoff goal. Can't really credit that to outplaying the opposition in open play. The second game, though, however, 3 goals all happening from open play, and Kazuku really distanced himself from that Game 1 and had a very, very good follow-up. And if you look at the points, it really does reflect that. Players struggling to even get to 200 points on the side of Berserkers. I know points doesn't matter, but that still does look a bit bad.
Oh, we were just saying no more than 5 minutes ago, essentially, what Serene hadn't barely any player over 200. So
yeah,
we're looking at points as a be all and end all. Yeah, it's problematic, but like we both know well enough, series will have its ebbs and flows, and so it will happen. It's the question of sort of when you get into the business end, can you sort out the issues? We're not quite there yet, but after sort of the 4th game here, while it's going to be 3-1, 2-2, that's the only sort of combinations that are left here. It's how do you respond? How do you settle yourself in going in for a championship Sunday place here?
Yep. And I do have to agree with you. We do have a disconnect coming through, so we're just gonna have to stall for just a little bit. Hopefully not too long. But I have to agree with you. It's, you know, the first couple of games in the series, it's just, you know, getting settled, making sure you can start playing your best Rocket League. But once that scoreline starts, you know, either going in your favor or going against you in favor, that's where you really need to ice up. You can't let the moment slip away. And Berserkers are gonna try and do just that. After a poor performance in last game, they now look to try and make a statement in this follow-up game, the third game. Team that wins here will take a lead in what's essentially turned into a best of 5 here.
Certainly is. There's just, you know, the only sort of hesitation going into this matchup, you know, is, you know, Berserkers may not feel as much as Serene here as it's a goal against them already. Serene's got, to some extent, nothing to prove this evening. As many, you know, might be friends of the players here, they didn't have a good, fantastic league campaign. Berserker here wasn't too far off here, top 3. They've got something here to at least show here. That's a goal of quality. Now it's Serene's chance to respond here.
Yep, but it will be Berserkers with the possession. Ibby ends up hitting the ceiling there. That makes it a bit more difficult, but gets a good 50 nonetheless. But Kyron, what are we doing here, Kyron? It looked like for sure he's just gonna be able to carry that one upfield, but he's just let the ball roll by him, and it's just opened up for Cal to just tap it in, Danny.
What you mean is beep, beep, beep.
I didn't know the garbage was coming to pick up the garbage today, Danny.
Well, I'm certainly told it every time that I'm going reverse, so it's only fair it's in response to it. But you know, bin day's Tuesday over here. Sometimes it's Monday if it's a bank holiday, but you know, it is what it is, and you know what, thankfully it's Thursday. So a different day. We'll have, unfortunately, ISIS on the pitch. It's Halo's goal, but what a demo to pull out there.
Yep, it was a really good demo. And the defense is not able to get back. I don't know if Ibby committed before or after the demo went through for that corner boost. But it is a good demo nonetheless. It opened everything up. Just questioning whether that could have been saved. As recasters do. Halo's gonna try and make it 2 here. Not able to get the follow-up though. Now Kyron goes flying past. Goes Slayer Crime just forces that one through into the top corner. And this last game just flipped completely on its head going into this one, as Berserkers have just taken this game by storm.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see a ball going not bottom left there for a change.
Yep.
Oh, that's what was the series. Just Serene and dexterity, the placement was unreal for that particular angle, but you know, it's sort of time ticks by, 90 seconds go on, and you're sort of going, well, Serene, in the grand scheme of things, will have a chance here to get at least maybe a shot on target, but they get a goal here, you know, 3-2's down, so it's not too bad here, 3-1. I wouldn't blame it, the players started to panic here.
Yep, Serene now on the offense. Kasoku trying to build something up. Kyron is gonna take it back to his corner here. He's gonna take a touch to himself. He's gonna force it through Ibby. That's a nice 50 by Halo. Needs to beat here is Nuke though. And Halo will get another chance on the ball here. He's up very nice and early. That's a good 50. Will Kyron get the follow-up? Yes, he will. It's on target. Cal under pressure. Manages to get a good clearance to Slayer Crime, but that's straight to Kiran. But he's taking it away from his teammate, and Halo doesn't have any time to pick up any boost, and Kiran has gone flying past. Nuke has bailed them out for now though, but look at the boost on the side of Kazuku. They're really struggling, but Nuke with a big save is gonna buy a little bit of time for his teammate. Slayer Crime keeping it in though, but nice job from Halo to even out the pressure a little bit.
That's Karen straight up, Nuke up. No, unfortunately, Serene player is able to play off it. Heals force 50. Slayer's already reading that one, so Karen should be considering the pass infield. He's done that for the double. For the double! That's Nuke!
What a play that was, Danny. I mean, in Academy, we don't see this ever. You know, that infield pass comes, it just flies straight past. But Nuke, barely any time to react to that one. Goes up. Recognizes he can't put a shot on target that's good enough, puts it on the backboard, gets a perfect read to place it in the net, and I just have to give my praise. That's a really good play by him.
The players will certainly appreciate the praise, but I think at the moment here they just want to get the win here. You can just sense that both sides have just got to the point here. Enough's enough here. It's time to show that the mechanics are out to play here. Nuke showed his. Karen drops all the way back, forced into the 50, and there's going to be no bang of that one. Two players misses, resulting into a serene attack here, back into the middle here. You know, there is some extent here, settle down here, get the touch here, but if it's going to be the wild, wild west out here, it might just end into a sudden down sort of showdown.
It might just. Nuke gonna carry this one forward. It's down to Kieran, and he's actually put it on the top of a defender's car flying through, I do believe, and it's just gonna get guided straight into that goal. Ibi, no chance to save that one off the touch from Gal, and I thought for a second that Nuke even got a touch to force it through, but he didn't. But nonetheless, Kazuku, they find the equalizer, Danny, and all of a sudden this game is way more interesting once again.
Well, that's interesting, but, you know, I much prefer a 0-0 scoreline more myself. I might be the one of the very few that enjoys it.
You know, it does have its charm, but...
That's a nice way of saying no.
No, it does have its charm, but I mean, if I had to pick between this one and Game 1, I would definitely pick this one.
How about Game 7?
Let's wait and see if we get that. Halo
or Game 10 if it's my prediction.
Yep. 5-0 both ways, but Nuke not able to squeeze it through. Kyron gonna be racing back to his goal here, no boost to count, but he will get the touch. Nuke gonna have to concede that boost, actually ends up getting it as Kieran left it for him, which might have been a good idea because that means he was able to get that 50 right there. Halo gonna be a bit awkward. It will go to his corner though, and that's a pretty good 50. Kyron gonna force it through. Nuke looking to disrupt the rotations on the side of Berserker's, not able to do so very well. Slayer Crime just gonna take it away from every Kazuku player in the equation, but Kieran gonna get it gifted off of a bump. Halo now with a lot of boost is gonna be probably the last play of this game, but it's caught out by Yibi.
Karen. They may be looking for his last chance here. He'll be requiring at least maybe Nuke to get a touch there. Thankfully, wide and left. So OT it is, the first time at least in this particular series here. And I happen to be blunt and brutally honest here. Berserkers will probably have been the better side by a distance here. And Shireen at times look a bit wibbly wobbly. And you somehow wonder how they're still in this matchup.
Yep, but they managed to scramble their way back. That shot I wasn't sure was on target, but it squeezed its way through. And what a way to take this overtime. Halo throwing everything he can to try and save that one, but unable to do so in the end. It will be Berserkers taking the lead this time.
Certainly is, and it's somewhat a bit of a surprise here. And I just briefly saw here, and I might as well mention this, that both Nuke and Karen temporary spiked about 200-300 ping there, but settled right back down there. So maybe change on to Spotify, who knows? But you know, when you're getting GOT here, you're either going to go out for in the entire sort of 5-10 seconds and go for glory, or you settle in for a long run here. And Serene's, by the looks of it, their approach is let's try to get us done as quickly as possible. And the horrible thing is, it does not suit them against Berserkers here.
Nope, indeed it does, and Berserkers was able to play very well off that counter here and finds that opening, just able to squeeze that one through. They will have the 2-1 lead, and there does not seem to be an overtime called. I do like that idea. Both teams look pretty even on terms of ability to score goals here. However, Berserkers edged that one out after throwing away their lead, and maybe that could just give them the confidence they need to run away with this one. But Kazuku very much have the option after finding momentum in that last game.
Well, you might want momentum, you might want the sort of the sense of having that sort of open net or the double touch. We saw, you know, the original spark of life essentially here. Karen, however, right in front of net and looks the defender right in the eye and say, do you want to have a go?
Yep. And do you think we're going to get a repeat of Game 1 here? Do you think this is all we're going to see for this game, Danny?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I do know you love your 1-1s or your 0-0s. Just one goal to differentiate the teams. That one is a pretty good chance though, but Kyron to cut it out. The demo as well found the infield pass, but Cal does not want to throw everything at that chance. Halo is going to pass it upfield, but Ibby's going to cut it out. Now Cal gonna get a flip reset off his first touch. Gonna look for the bump instead of the shot, and everything is open here. Slayer Crime just needs to go for the shot, but he's gone to the ceiling instead. And I don't know if that was the right option there, but it does mean Kizuku gets a counter attack here. Kyron gonna force it onto the backboard. Follow up from Nock, and it is on target, and Serene have found a second.
And just like that player, the complete sort of polar opposite of game one. Not as even, not as close in terms of that. Serene would be happy to see it, but again, will it be more in the second or the third here, while it's at that point there, if they concede one, we know that they may have a struggle if it continues on similar footing.
Yep, but Kyron had a bit of a freebie given to him there, but unable to even find the target. Cal, however, is gonna take it to the side, but Nock is gonna cut this one out. A good 50 by Kieran. Is there a follow-up? No, there is not. It will be Cal to Slayer Crime off the crossbar, but no follow-up once again, and Halo is able to get it out of defense. Nock gonna place it into the corner here, but a big clearance down the other end by Cal. But what a pre-jump by Kieran. He's gonna keep that pressure going. Slayer Crime looking for that 50, but it's Halo to get the better end of that one. Cal back to Ibby here. It's just gonna force it forwards. It's gonna follow it up. It's off the backboard here. Halo needs to do well, has done so. And he's very high up, gonna go for the flip reset, but that will be the end of that story right there. But Cal with a poor touch means Slayer Crime has to pass it to Nock, just has to put it on target, but unable to do so here.
Well, there's Halo, one shot straight down, back into the middle. And Nuke's just sitting waiting patiently. He's well, I don't know why actually Karen was up with the way it was there. Must have missed either the rotation or the sense of the idea. And there's something different for Team Shireen, bottom right. Not the left-hand side of the net, but 3 to the batter. Similar how like game 2 was. If they can string that out, at least for the next game 2, Berserkers might start wanting to reconsider their approach in the whole aspect of the series.
Yep, you know, playing that counter-attack, like you pointed out, it does require you to get certain counter-attacks. This time, changing it up a little bit, going back to that game 1 roots, finding a kickoff goal. And it's one way to get back into this game, but if they want to continue like that, they have to find 2 more just like that one.
Certainly is. Now, for Serene's sake, you just keep the ball away from the net here. Don't even worry about necessary score, and that should be the thought process. At least Halo's bumped off it, so Karen really would be the last player back as Nuke not fully recovered here. Awkward positioning, and Berserkers know that, so they can take extra time in the setup here, and it's only one up. Slayer's not even in the position for a pass and play, and that's, you know, essentially allowing Serene to set up for the one obvious play that they can produce there.
Yeah, indeed, but look at that clearance down the other end by Nuke. It's gonna be Slayer Crime to follow it up. Gonna take it to the ceiling, even gets another touch to set up Ibby with a nice redirect. Only 1 goal to differentiate the 2 teams right now, and I just gotta give credit to Slayer Crime. That is not an easy ball to take out of defense, but he's found Ibby down the other end, and it's put in the back of the box.
Well, disrespect really from Team Shireen. Presuming outright Karen's going to get the 50, but also not sort of covering the defensive angle. That's not what you want really, especially when you have a 3-goal lead gifted to them, especially in a critical game here. That's a wide open net. Slayer's going to put that one home, and you know what, the Shireen mental's going to be put in the question here.
Yep, last game we saw the same thing happen. It was the team switch though. It was Kazuku making that comeback. This time they have to defend the lead that they had, and it's gone. It's withered away. Now they need to find another goal to get back in that position. It looks strong from the get-go here from Kieran, but that pass is gonna only find Slayer Crime, who has been very instrumental in setting up the offense for Berserkers. This time it's gonna drop to Cal with a nice shot to the top right corner. You've talked about you want to see the ball not going into the left side. This time it's as far away from the bottom left corner as it can get, Danny.
Do you know what? Sometimes if you ask, you shall receive, with as simple as it gets here. And you know what here? Team Shireen has just shown exactly what not to do in a play-ins match when you need to get wins on the board. They were 3 to the batter. Then it suddenly went 3-1, 3-2, 3-3 in a blink of an eye. The fourth one went in, the fifth one now, and you've got to question here the players on Serene. What on earth are you doing here?
Yep, it's 5 goals scored in about 40 seconds of gameplay here. It's not looking too good. However, it does mean they have 1 minute and 50 seconds left to get into this game. That one was a good chance, but they're unable to capitalize off of it. And for me, that could spell the end of this game unless they can get their mental back in the right position very, very quickly. Kyron is going to get caught out here. Nuck to take it to the side. Going to put some pressure onto Slayer Crime, who's trying to pass it back to Ebby. Nook is gonna cut that one out, but he's gonna get another touch that makes it so hard for Halo to take a shot. And just as quick as it started, that counter attack is down the other end, and it is gonna be Berserkers to put on pressure. But Halo gets gifted a free ball here, gets it over 2, might get the bump, not able to do so, but he is gonna be in the prime position to tap that one in. And they've given a second chance to get back into this game now.
Yeah, they give credit to Karen. He's forced the defender to look and make a decision, either shot or pass, and he was on the sort of the angle of covering both. That indecisiveness sort of leaves you sort of wondering here. Allows Halo to score that one. Back and it goes with 60 seconds left here. You do not think about trying to get 2 here. You just grab 1, force OT. Greed is a horrible thing here, and Serene might be guilty of that.
Just might be, Cal. So just buy as much time for his teammates here. Gonna run the clock down. Halo is up, but that's a double commit from Berserkers. But Slayer Crime has found his way through. It is gonna be cleared, but it doesn't matter because that defense has had so much time to recalibrate their approach. Slayer Crime with an even better redirect there. He's gonna stay on the backboard. Gonna make Kieran unable to capitalize off of that situation. Halo is gonna draw it back. Is gonna take it across the goal here. Slayer Crime might get the beat here. It is gonna be a fake from Halo. Sets himself up for that pass. But this great defensive work from Slayer Crime on that backboard time and again right now.
Halo could have at least a passing option. He's going to the backboard. It will all be Halo, but Slayer's not having any of that one. Over the passing play to Karen. It's on the right hand side, essentially, of the Berserker side. You had options there. And I don't want to sit here and pass play him. But if you're going for a backboard read to set the play up here, you either make sure you follow or you bring the defender out. Slayercam had it so easy there, and Team Serene had no plan to follow after it. That, however, may be arguably a masterclass on how to throw a game there. Timeout, Team Serene.
Yeah, and no doubt in my mind that is a necessary timeout in this moment of the game. You've just had a 3-goal lead, similarly to what Berserkers had in the game 2 games before, I believe, where Serene was able to... No, they weren't even able to claw their way back. It was Berserkers with a 3-goal lead. They then conceded 3 goals. Team Serene got their way back into the game, but it was Berserkers to close it out. This time, it was Team Serene unable to keep that 3-goal lead, and in the end, Berserkers ran away with it. Kazuku not as clinical to get back on point as soon as they lost that lead. And 3 games in a row here, Danny. I mean, I have seen Team Serene do a couple of reverse sweeps in this playoffs runs, but it might be this mod might be the one that gets to them.
And mine too here, and this is sort of the frustrating bit about the sort of the matchup itself is you had 2 individual games here, and if it was any other way here, you might look at it and sort of going, you know, suddenly it's how can I put it, by 3-1 Team Serene. You could arguably make that case here, but they have not seen the game out. That is just poor no matter what the team is at what level. You had opportunities, especially a 3-0 lead. If it was 4-0 and you suddenly threw that, you're talking about a 96% win rate normally. That just shows you how preposterous Berserker's comeback. Yes, it was good, but, you know, was it outright brilliance? Not really. Serene let them back in.
Yeah, it was pretty poor from Team Serene after they got that 3-goal lead. It looked like they already were in the mindset that game was on their end. They did have that one in the bank, but as we see here, when you start having that mentality, it can switch just as quickly as you even get in the mentality of that you have that game.
you can talk about mentality as much as you want here, and yes, there's an element of it. But you know, if let me put it kindly here, you don't play from the start thinking that you're going to lose unless there's a reason for it. They came into this matchup thinking they could probably win it. They had chances to win it. They've been in the lead multiple times in it. So unless somewhere in the back of their heads they're thinking they're coming in to get this lead off us, they're coming to beat us, they're playing with fear. And that's never been a good thing in any matchup, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's the fear of this is your last chance. You have one more time to seal your place in the playoffs on Sunday. It is right here, right now. If you lose one game, Kazuku, you are out. And I'm sure that Berserkers is going to look for every opportunity they get to make sure that that happens. They have given themselves 3 opportunities to close this series out. Let's see how they handle this first one here.
Well, we saw the elite roster from Team Serene with RMD, Nixo and Slumpy went 3-0 down. And if you were watching that, you would have thought, well, they were probably goners at that point, and you wouldn't be blamed or, guilt, really. Serene here, that they've given themselves chances, and you can almost sense if they can get just the play right, suddenly something magical could happen. Now they have to have that miracle in them to get this one over the line.
Yep, it's a nice touch there by Nuke, though. That sets up Halo. He's just going to put it on target. No messing around this time. No backboard needed, but it will be saved away. Now Cal is going to try and find his way onto the backboard, but it's going to be Slayer Crime to follow that one up. That's a good 50 by Halo. That sets up Kyron. Has a lot of space to work with, but it is going to be Ibby to cut that one out. Nuke is going to try and make something happen. It's just going to be stranded in enemy territory, really. He does pick up the boost here and ends up being in the right position. Gonna try and dribble this one in. It is gonna be falling down to Halo. The demo is found, but it is Slayer Crime on the counter.
He is. And you know what, here, I'm just thinking, Team Berserks in terms of sort of miracle runs as well. This week as well, don't forget, Stingray, normally the head admin and producer that we've seen plenty of times on stream, had to sub in for the elite game against Aspire. Just, Berserkers might be having a good week themselves as a franchise. Somewhat half forgot about that, just clicked there, but Serene, that's the word that's missing from their chemistry at the moment. Not clicking here. That's a shot wayward by Berserkers, but more importantly, it's not on their half, and it's more time that Serene's got to worry about something.
Yeah, and Halo on the counter here is gonna put it far, trying to put it in that bottom left corner that you hate so much, Danny, and it will not work this time. Well, I was gonna keep going, and Cal does find a good goal here. He's onto the out dribble, gets the flip reset, uses it early, gets it over Halo, and it's just back in the box. And Berserkers finding a lead here, and now Kazuku facing elimination. They might have to dig deep to find their way back into this game.
Well, some can keep going, some just plod into the ground here. Shot wasn't that, but will the mentals be heading into that sort of thunderous or plod? Well, that's Karen certainly taking his time to get to that one here. Half the game gone by. Halo straight down the line from the wing. And you know what, here, the ball somehow trickles its way through here, and you just gotta somewhat wonder if you get a play on the end of it here. It's 1-1.
Yep, that's a good cut out here. Ibby gets bumped into the ball. Slayer Crime gonna try and keep it in this corner here. Ibby to get it through. Now Kieran, the only defender left for Kazuku, is gonna do well for his teammates. It's even gonna roll up the backboard, but that allows Cal to just pick it up. Just try and carry it forwards. Halo gets a bit of a freebie here as Slayer Crime goes straight through. It's gonna drop in front of net, but once again, the lack of commitment means there's no chance on net for Kazuku.
There's Halo, straight back around, and Cal covers that line. You just have to give yourself an opportunity, and that's what Serene has to do here. Halo gets a save, double commit by Karen, and he'll leave the boost for his teammate waiting behind him. There he's up to Mr. Double Touch. Had seen Serene before. Halo off the woodwork. That's the closest they've been so far in 5 minutes, essentially. They've got to get one, or it's bye-bye from here.
Yep, Halo's gonna keep the pressure on here though, drops it down, but it's gonna be Cal with the big clear. Nook utilizing his corner. I saw him do that earlier in the series as well. It's worked very well. Almost confuses the defenders, but it's not gonna be enough to open up here. Halo with a flip reset, with a double flip reset. Kyron just up a bit too early, not able to get on the end of that. That was perchance one of the best opportunities they've had in this game, perhaps even in this series. Nook is gonna get another chance here, takes it to the sidewall, gonna try and relay it down to Kyron. This time he doesn't shoot the gun, but he's not able to get it through. Nook with 0 boost does well on this defensive end. Kyron to Halo, he whiffs the ball though, and now Cal is just gonna be able to carry this one forward, and so much time has been lost on those chances.
It was a wayward ball originally, and it was sort of hit and hope for Halo really to reach on to. Carney has the angle surely over the Halo, and it will be a force 50. No bump or release dunk as well. So Nuke has to defend this, get this downfield, and it may be all over. Karen whips it away. 10 odd seconds to save it to get to OT. They may not have another chance. We've been saying that for so long here. Slayer Crime keeps it up into the air here. It has not hit the ground yet. Mutt, that is the words. Berserkers do get the victory. It is bye-bye to the Team Serene.
Yep. And unable to replicate, or well, not replicate, but unable to do what their teams in the other tiers did when they were on the back end, unable to find their way back into the series, and it is going to be over, and it is going to be Berserkers that we will be seeing on Sunday. However, who they're going to be facing, we will only find out in the next series. But before we get to that point, we do have some series statistics and an MVP award in this series to dish out. And let me just go first. We have the series statistics here. Only one goal to differentiate them, and that really just shows this whole series. Serene, they had one game where they completely dominated, but there was 2 other games where they were unable to close it out, in respectively in an overtime after a comeback, and the second time they were unable to even get to the overtime after throwing away a 3-goal lead.
It was a sort of sense of it. I mean, when you get sort of the situation, you were 3-0 up, essentially, effectively twice, and you don't start those at home here, because if they do that, they're suddenly going 2-1 up in the series, potentially 3-1. Different story, different day. But again, you can't afford here to play on chances that you just can't convert here. We don't do that. And Berserkers, to be fair, they were the better side here throughout here. There's no arguments here, but it's a question on that MVP, and what would probably be Slayer Crime here, based on what we've seen so far, I've had to guess.
You're absolutely right on the money there. 4 goals, 3 assists, and 8 saves to him, and they had 11 goals total, Danny. Well, he was involved in 7 of them. Only 4 goals from that side. Didn't have anything to do with Slayer Crime, and probably even had something to do in with those 7 demos. Brilliant performance from him, and he's definitely gonna be the difference maker for me in this series specifically. But you've had a bit of a day here, Danny. Although you don't have to cast the 3rd series tonight like you did yesterday. So I think we're gonna go on a bit of a break here, and if you want to say anything to the stream to end off, then I'll allow you to do so right now.
No, it's nothing much to sit there and say. It's just enjoy the action that's still coming, of course, today, tomorrow, and of course Championship Saturday and Sunday. Let's just get it rolling here. Let's head to the break.
Are you stuck in Diamond while your other friends flex their SSL title? Well, look no further. I have partnered up with LTXAcademy as a coach, and we are ready to boost your gameplay. With multiple tournaments and trophies won and thousands of dollars earned, I will tailor to your needs and make sure you get to that next level. I'm also doing discounted prices for the first 10 days, so you do not want to miss out. And you are also probably thinking,
CMOS, how do I book a session with you?
well, that's easy. Just open up that fancy browser of yours, type metafy.gg/@cmasorl_, pick a session to your liking, book a time, and bang, you're booked, and I'll see you in the call. Once again, that's metafy.gg/@cmasorl_.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, Every detail made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels, they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down my walls again just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch
struggle to rank up in Rocket League? Are you stuck in Diamond while your other friends flex their SSL title? Well, look no further. I have partnered up with LTXAcademy as a coach, and we are ready to boost your gameplay. With multiple tournaments and trophies won and thousands of dollars earned, I will tailor to your needs and make sure you get to that next level. I'm also doing discounted prices for the first 10 days, so you do not want to miss out. And you are also probably thinking,
CMOS, how do I book a session with you?
well, that's easy. Just open up that fancy browser of yours, type metafy.gg/@cmasorl_, pick a session to your liking, book a time, and bang, you're booked, and I'll see you in the call. Once again, that's metafy.gg/@cmasorl_.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you
So, it's eliminations all done. Only one match left to play. Welcome into the Master Tier, everybody, and welcome into the RSC. My name is Beeping Sheep. Joined alongside me today is Veiled. And you casted the last series, Veiled. How was it?
Well, it was interesting to say the least. Team Serene could have had a better running in that series, but they were unable to close out the games that mattered the most. So it ended in a 4-1 victory for Berserkers, who will be waiting to see who they have to play against on Sunday. And it will be between the two teams we have on stream right now. Whoever loses that one will drop down into the lower bracket and will face off Berserkers. And it is, of course, Firein and Montezuma. Also, we had in the first cast of tonight, or the first series of tonight, was Virtus versus Kazuku. Kazuku was able to take that one, but unable to do so in the second one. Which leads us into this series, Beeping Sheep. I don't know if we're gonna get statistics on screen, but let me know your thoughts on this series. How do you see this one going?
Well, I know the stats look pretty similar in terms of wins and losses and everything, but I would say Neat is probably a pretty high favourite for this one, considering the differences between the two conferences in Master. I mean, they didn't even finish top of the table with Smashy on their team, so like that tells you quite a bit about it. Montezuma are probably going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to want to take anything from this, but if they really can pull off a surprise, then fair enough to them. I just don't personally see it happening unless you do.
Well, as a conversation to be had for sure, but I think there's only certain people to be more cut out for that, and that's the players on the field. It is pretty much what everyone is going to be saying is it's going to be Smashy versus Jazz, and it's interesting to see who can take the lead. I had the pleasure of casting Smashy in playoffs in the last season, where I managed to witness him pull off a pogo shot, so I know exactly what these kind of caliber of players are able to pull off. But purely statistically, I mean, these guys are just anomalies. 87 goals on Smashy, 49 assists, 75 goals and 45 assists on Jazz's name. Smashy edges it out a little bit, but I mean, It's still, compared to anyone else in that lobby, it's just absolutely insanity.
I mean, yeah, I've faced both of them before, and they are just levels above what seems to be pretty much everyone. So I suppose it will come down to that battle in between them who can really just lead their team across. Of course, those second and third players are also going to have a part to play. I'm going to give a quick nudge towards Matrix, who has seemed to have gone on the up and up in the last year or so. He's not playing, I've been told as well. So I'm going to give a quick nudge to the sub now, Wix. So there's going to be it's going to be pretty big shoes to fill. But I reckon he could be more than capable. But if it does go sideways for either team, I am going to back them to end up beating Berserkers on the Sunday. I don't know if you've got any different thoughts on that, but I feel like if you lose a series, you're going to be alright.
Yeah, I think the more you go up in tiers, the less vulnerable you get knocked out of that upper bracket, the more you're likely going to be able to, withstand that lower bracket, that momentum that those teams have going in. I think it becomes less of a factor. I think whichever teams loses here, it is going to be pretty cut out for them how they're going to go through that lower bracket. So I wouldn't be worried. But it is a really interesting matchup to have in the first round of play-ins. Neither team going to lose their life, but both teams going down into that lower bracket, which can be dangerous in and of itself. But without further ado, what is your prediction, Sheep?
Well, I mean, as I said before, I'm going to be leaning towards that side of Neat. I don't really know how to say their team name, so I'm just going to be calling them Neat for the time being. But I reckon Montezuma can absolutely make it a close game. So I'm going to go 4-2. I think they're going to take a couple off, but they're just not going to quite finish it off.
I think it's going to be too big of a difference, especially with playing it with a sub. I think Firen, I think that's how you pronounce it. I think they're going to take it in a 4-1 fashion here. But without further ado, we have every player in the lobby. So let's just get them on the pitch and let's get going.
Well, off we go then into game number 1. This is your first upper bracket match in Master, so it's your first time to see what either of these teams will be capable of on the Sunday. Who's going to be the first to get that first goal? Will it be Wix going on that early dribble? Just going to get met by Crisp. That's going to find its way into the middle. Jazz first to it, beat by Smashy on the 50, but Dimitri is very fast to follow that, looking for that second touch. Can't quite find anything in the middle though, because Smashy is just going to stay patient on it. Ends up feeding it towards Crisp, who feeds it back to Smashy. He's looking for the dribble now, looking to take it above, looking for the double, but Jazz is first to it as well, and now he's going to go on his own little solo play, but he doesn't quite have the boost to go. So in these first 30 seconds, both the star players do seem to have had quite a bit of chance, but nothing yet significant for either team.
No, but you can definitely see the impact these two players have on the field. As you see Smashy, even when rotating out, he's just putting Wix under so much pressure to just force the ball into his teammate Crisp, who sets up that pass into the middle, but no follow-up yet. Smashy to the corner here. Not where you want the ball to go, but it's straight into Nova, who is unable to bury it into the back of the net. Crisp is going to challenge this one. He will get a good challenge here, actually, but it drops to Wix. But with 0 boost, what can you do? Well, beat Smashy, that is exactly what you can do, but Crisp on 0 boost, unable to do much. But here comes Smashy with a lot of boost to the sidewall, to the backboard once again. Nova is there, but too late. Jazz will save that one. And none of the chances really looking too scary for either of these teams.
No, there's still not really been too much of a threat. And for those who have only just tuned into the playoffs now, this is probably going to be this one tier where there is the biggest difference. Like, Master is, as far as I know, the highest gap in between players. Because you've got early SSLs mixed in with absolute monsters like Jazz and Smashy, who, well, for about 300-400 MMR above on a different level every now and again. But it's a bit more star player based, I suppose, in certain teams like this. We saw it with Cash last season, we saw it with Smashy in previous seasons. I'm sure Jazz would want to be that new one to do so. But right now, he's not really had much threat on the goal, although neither has Smashy in all fairness. So it has been a bit more of the other two on either team so far. Crisp's just going to get beat by Dimitri there. He's going to be on the wall, ends up beating Nova, but Smashy is just there to wait for it now. Smashy into the corner. Passes it off to Crisps, who ends up just getting a bit of an awkward touch. Jazz meets him. That goes towards Wix, so that just goes towards the green corner now. That's looking to find its way back into the mid. And then a bit of tangle up now. So at half-time, we're still yet to find a single goal, and there's only been 2 shots. So I suppose it's been a bit of a boring start. Wouldn't you agree, Veiled?
It's been pretty boring, but it's been action-packed. However, no chances. That one pretty much being the first one, but it's unable to be converted by the side of Byron. They do, however, still have the pressure. Now possession falls back to Crisp. He's gonna take it to the corner. Gonna force this one middle where Smash is waiting, but he's unable to find the target there. And once again, well, they lose the pressure, but they keep the possession, and immediately they turn it into pressure once again. Nova needs to beat Jazz here. Unable to do so. Crisps could be caught out here. It's going to be Dimitri with the shot, but it's saved away by Crisps. And he's going to be following this one. Takes it to his corner. Wix cuts it out. Smashy now following up. Unable to get the follow-up touch, but it falls to Jazz now. Nova gonna cut it out. Only 1 to beat now, but can't quite do it. These follow-ups has been so quick and so critical so far in this game. Just as soon as danger starts knocking, you just feel that the last resort just comes through, and it hasn't failed yet.
Yeah, that midfield battle has been especially significant, because if that first man gets beat, you just know the second is going to be there to immediately meet the challenge. Goes a bit wrong now towards that Montezuma net, but Dimitri's just going to be a little bit calm, keep that in the corner, and just let Jazz take care of it as well. Crisps just going to end up going back, waiting for Jazz to make that last touch. Jazz with 1. Can't quite find 2 though, as Nova just booms it all the way to the other side. Dimitri now in his own corner. Nobody contesting so far. Crisps up now. Dimitri ends up beating him, but gets bumped for his troubles. Smashy just looking to carry that across, and as we enter the final minute, it feels like both teams have been a little bit cautious to start off the series. Just trying to find what the response is with whatever they throw towards the other team. Maybe Dimitri's going to be that first bit of flair for Montezuma, but not looking like it right now. Jazz is going to be on the wall, 30 boosts to work with, looks to find a man down in the middle. That's not going to happen though. Wix last back, does make a clear, 90 boosts to work with. Crisp's going to knock that one down. That's a bit of an awkward bounce, but Wix just about manages to clear it. Now Nova with that final chance before what is most likely going to be an overtime. Wix just finds it a bit of an easy clear. Crisp straight into the middle, looking to beat that final man, not quite forcing out a tangle up, and the way it looks, we are going to have overtime in game number 1.
Yeah, unless Smashy can find his way through here, unable to get the bomb onto Dimitri, will drop on Nova, but just gets cut away, and we do in fact have that overtime that you so spoke of on the kickoff. How poetic, it's Smashy against Jazz, and it does go in the favor of Montezuma here. Dimitri able to keep that pressure going, but Nova's gonna get a free clear here. Straight down into Jazz though, however, and Smashy unable to keep possession for them here. First chance really for Montezuma on net, and it will be on target. It will be Wix, sorry, that makes that first game go in their favor.
Well, look at that link up. Jazz nowhere to be seen in that play. Dimitri with the assist, Wix with a goal, and it puts Montezuma on the board. Would you believe it? What neither of us probably would have thought for that first game, but they will absolutely take it. A win is a win, and that puts them a quarter of the way towards an upper bracket Saturday, but at the same time, it is only a quarter of the way. There is still lots of the series left to go, and from the looks of these stats as well, it looks like Wix seems to be that man with a lot more on the ball than anybody else. Jazz not even having a single shot. The entire Neat team only having 2, both by Smashy. So, yeah, I suppose it is just finding where to stop the caution and where to start with the team plays, the flair, just the bits of everything. Because we've not really seen anyone go for too many risks.
Yep, but it is going to be about how do you recover from this if you're firing. Of course, you had a couple of chances, but none of them really looking scary. Montezuma, they really didn't have any chances either. It was just a game that came down to who can pull the rabbit out of the hat, who can make that chance happen out of nowhere in the end. And it is going to be Montezuma off of what I would call a bit scrappy offensive play. It was just very fast-paced, and they were following each other, and it happened to be that it landed exactly on Wix's car, and he was able to put it in. And I do know that these players are all very, very good at handling defensive moments and able to keep away the pressure and make sure that those, pretty chances or, regular chances don't happen. So it is maybe gonna be like this every single time, but I'm still missing to see some better build-up play.
Yeah, I mean, there's... You have seen that little bit of the first ball, like you've been saying. Smashy was almost a magical play there on 0. That's not quite going to happen, though. you have mentioned about those first balls being, well, a little bit on there, but the second is quick to follow from the other side. So it just means that that chance is cut out before. So, yeah, I suppose it will probably repeat throughout most of the series. Master obviously being the most defensive tier by quite some mile. It's not going to be like it was 2 weeks ago with Academy with about 9 to 10 goals per game. But either way, into game number 2 now. It was a bit of early threat there from Montezuma, who looked to find that opener, but that just didn't quite happen. Jazz just lets the ball go a little bit behind him. Now Dimitri going to take it into the middle. Chris beats him, just stays in his own corner, tries to beat Wicks out with it, but that ends up going the other way. Ends up going straight towards Smashy. He's got the wall for safety. He takes that first touch, and Jazz is just being ever so patient, looking to get what was a pretty good clear off of that now. Now Nova, first on the ball. What a player in Elite last season as well. He's really stepped up into the Master tier, but will it matter for Neat this game? Now here he is on the ball again, Nova. That's just going to go straight above 1, straight above 2. Not quite going to find the net though, but Smashy is low on boost, as is Nova. And there's a bit of a tangle up for Neat at the moment. They're just looking to find their way into the game. Maybe that first overtime loss shocked them a little bit, but we've not really felt like we've seen much of them so far.
Yeah, and one thing in particular I was looking for, I was just going to say it, we have just seen it. It's those demos. That is what opens up space for players like Jazz, for players like Smashy. When you find a demo just like that, it opens so much space, and look, Smashy has a chance all of a sudden. Just can't get on the other end of it. Now Crisp, however, is going to try and force it down in front of net. Can't get the follow-up. Jazz under pressure. Gets to whiff the ball. Crisp's laying it off to Smashy. Just needs to put it on target and has done so. And just as I mentioned, we need to see some demos. It looks like Firen has absolutely taken it to heart and puts on so much pressure out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, I suppose they have brought the fire into the match, really. But there's their first goal. Now, both teams on the board. No one really looking to panic now. It is Firen with the lead. Crisp's looking for that physical play once again, and that's 2 Azteca players just waiting in the corner. I remember looking at this Azteca team early season thinking, yeah, they're probably going to do well, but what happens when they finally get to face that other conference? That seems to be what's happening, and they have taken that first game, and they have looked quite a threat in the early period of game 2, but they do find themselves behind as Jazz tips that onto the post, almost manages to find a brilliant dribble off of that. Now Dimitri looking into the middle, looking for that second touch. Nova just beats him out, looking for that 50 against Jazz, ends up just bumping him off instead. Jazz looking for that redirect, doesn't quite have the boost to work with, ends up just taking Smashies anyway. Looking to go down, looking for that first touch, looking for that second. That's almost going to find the net, but Dimitri sure will follow that. But what a play that was from Jazz.
It's a great play by him. Goes for the first killer, double tap onto Smashy, who makes the initial save, but it is going to be Dimitri waiting patiently in the middle there, just able to tap it in. And we do have another kickoff for us here. I'm interested to see what happens. It's going to be Nova that gets speed, but it will be Crispy on the follow-up. Jazz on no boost. We'll get the challenge in. Smashy taking it to the side wall here, but just gets thrown a little far away from him. However, Crisp's on the follow-up here. Even Smashy's, you've seen him get a demo down the other end there onto Jazz, but just Firen not able to make anything from it. This time, Wicks gonna try and go over Smashy's head. It's probably never gonna happen, but however, another demo is found, and this time it is Montezuma who manages to find the demos and down the other end, and it just opens everything up for Dimitri here.
It's a drastic turn of events from what the start of the game seemed to be in terms of goals. Maybe not in terms of chances though, because Montezuma have been the better team to do that, and that was very awkward for Nova. There's really not much you can do there when that last man's demoed, when you're on 0 and there's a striker called Dimitri bearing down on that goal. You kind of have to go for it and hope that it just falls your way, and that just wasn't the case. Wicks looking for that second shot for the third goal for Montezuma, as they are in what seems to be quite a bit of control of this series at the moment. Firen are going to hopefully look to change that, but that doesn't seem to have happened since that first goal. There's just not been any further ideas from Nova with a pot shot. Finds the box, but can't really go any further than that. Now Wicks, quick clear, ends up just going straight to Crisp. He's looking for the flick now. Not going to end up finding it. Jazz going to go with a low 50. That's going to go straight to Dimitri. Smashy just letting it happen, letting the ball go above. There's still a minute to work with if you're Firen. You've got time. You've got a little bit of time, but now with Wicks on the goal, you've got to be careful as well. That's another risky 50 up from Dimitri now. Ends up almost beating Smashy again. Now Wicks is up. And the thing with Wicks and Dimitri, they have been everywhere early on in the series. It hasn't just been the Jazz show. They've been doing pretty much everything they can to make life as difficult as possible for firing. Crisps just missing that shot, doesn't quite have the boost for it. And you start to think it might actually be Montezuma's night.
Yep, unless Smashy has anything to say, that's a good pass forward, but it will be Wicks to take it away. Nova gonna lay this one off to Crisp, who goes for that sketchy bounce. Smashy could have sealed the deal right there, but unable to beat out Dimitri. Now Jazz is gonna just launch this one forward, make it very uncomfortable for Crisps to get back down the other end. Ends up setting Dimitri up, and here comes Jazz with the shot. It would have been in, but it will hit the ground before we hit, well, after the clock hits 0. So that game will go on the end of Montezuma, and they have found 2 already. Both of us predicting the other way, and Montezuma really has shown us that we couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, they're halfway there now on Montezuma. Come flying out of the blocks compared to Neat, which have just looked a little bit slow in these opening few games. Unfortunately for Nova, a 78-point game just really isn't what you're looking for in the play-ins especially. So we saw the insta-leave there. Maybe that means a car change. Maybe that just means a mentality reset. Just take that minute. It doesn't look like there's a timeout called, though, from the side of Fire. And they have full belief that they can come back into the series yet. Because it is a best of 7. There's still a little bit more time to go with. But they can't carry on like this. Because Montezuma right now are all over them. They're taking every single chance they can get. They're taking every lead they can get. It could have been 3-1 if it wasn't 0. Because Jazz tried to poke in a late game sealer. But in the end, they did end up winning the game anyway. And they've only got 2 more to go until they find themselves, I believe, against Inferno.
After this one, in the upper bracket, I can just check that one to make sure. Yeah, it will be Inferno waiting for the winners of this one. Of course, the losers will go down and face Berserkers. So, brackets already made up. It's just about this one game here, making those 2 matchups. Will show us who's going to be where. It is going to be Nova to force it through off the kickoff here, but Dimitri handling this ball very well. Smashy, though, to take it away. Gets the flip reset. Is going to lay it down to Crisps, who was a bit quiet in that last game. Not the most quiet, but he was a bit quiet this time. He's able to find this shot from the bump from Smashy onto Jazz. Opens things up, and Crisps open the scoring here in Game 3.
Oh, Jazz, watch for flying objects, because Smashy will just come bearing down on you just to bump you right out of the way. To gift it to Crisp, to put Neat 1-0 up early on in Game 3. They do seem to have completely changed their rhythm. Crisp looking to double up, and we're 20 seconds in, and Neat are already looking like a completely different side.
Yep, they've woken up. They've scored more goals than they have combined for the whole series right here in this game. Actually doubled it, tripled their total goal tally. It is going to be Smashy bumped away here, though. He does get the boost, but he is just going to let Dimitri pass this one over to Jazz. He has the waterfall, but it's taken away by Smashy. That shot from Wicks, off target, that kills that offense. Smashy is just going to bully Dimitri all the way back to his corner boost, which lets Crisps go all the way like this. Nova just gets a bit ahead of the play, though, so he's not able to put on a shot, but he is going to keep the pressure on. Dimitri looking to take it straight down the other end. Smashy takes it away from him, gets that 50 underneath Wicks. Crisps actually ends up winning that 50 onto Jazz. Nova off the waterfall, unable to seal it away. And the ball gets cleared down the other end, but Crisps is going to hang on to it. Look, here comes Smashy. Gonna get the bump, but that is the end of that attack. Jazz gonna look to do what Smashy couldn't down the other end. Dimitri just needs to put it in. Can't quite do it, though, and this game has slowed down a little bit here.
It has, and with those first 2 games being Montezuma start to finish, we're seeing a lot more green in front of that ball now, especially Smashy and Crisp, these 2 already linking up for 2 separate goals. Crisps eyeing out a hat-trick, Smashy eyeing out a playmaker. Here he is now, Crisps, on that ball. 27 boost, looking for the dribble, looking for the first touch. Jazz forces a save off the bar. Could well have been 3-0 there. And this Neat side is starting to bring the danger across. Nova with that shot, Smashy with a bump in net. Looks for it again. That's not quite going to happen now. It's going to stay 2-0. But The threats are there every single time they go outfield. I'd start to worry if I'm Montezuma, this game especially, because it's crazy how they can just go up and you've got to watch out for a flying Smashy who's just looking to boom you out of the way. You've got to watch out for a really prolific Crisps now who's getting the scoring going for his side. And Nova finally starting to get into the game as well. After that last game, he would love just quite a bit of a bounce back here. He's almost matched his points total from last game in half the time, it seems like. But good demo as well from Nova, just to take the ball away from Dimitri. Crisp with a huge pinch as well all the way to the other side. Wicks now looking to get a touch out, but Crisp there, looking for the hat-trick, and it is going to happen. Somebody's woken up on the side of Neat, and it is Crisps, and that puts him 3-0 up.
Yep. And it is still gonna be Montezuma in the lead, even if the scoring ends like this. But something interesting has just happened. Fyron has now scored more goals than Montezuma in this series. And it's only gonna mean one game win, but it is impressive nonetheless. Crispy really waking up. Dimitri gonna lay that one down to Wicks. He's gonna now try and find Jazz here, who's gonna try and take it through. Actually gonna end up just losing it on purpose to Nova, but the follow-up too slow. Jazz not able to get that demo. Smashy playing with his opponent, but it's not gonna lead to anything in the end. Crisps gonna take this one onto the side. Jazz on the waterfall. Smashy to get the musty for the clear. Will end up buying his team just a little bit of time to get resituated. That's a great save from Nova. Smashy gets an even better touch here. Nova on the follow-up. That's a good dunk that sets up Crisps, but he whiffs, and Smashy sitting so deep has to just throw anything he had at the ball, but it will be Dimitri to finish it in the end.
Montezuma threw absolutely everything in that past minute. They threw every single man, every single time, and finally, Dimitri breaks through. He's unlucky for that first shot to not go in, but thankfully Smashy just couldn't quite get there quick enough. Dimitri's there for that follow, and the game isn't quite over yet now, because we've still got a minute and a half to play. It's very rare that you see a 3-goal comeback in Master, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. Jazz looking for goal number 2. That's going to go off the bar. Wicks looking for the follow. Nova there to stop it. That is a very, very good save there from Nova to stop any sort of momentum switching. Keeps Neat in control of the game so far. Now Smashy on the ball, looking for a reset. Not going to happen. Jazz meets him up on the backboard, ends up passing it off to Wicks, but Nova first to it again in this second half as well. Now Nova does seem to be in a lot of places that Neat want him to be. Crisp, bit of a panic save there. Dimitri into the middle. Smashy make that second save as well. Dimitri out with low boost, can't quite follow it, but Jazz sure can. Jazz looking to just control it, leave it to Wicks, trying to tee him up. That's going to go into the middle, looking to find the angle as well, trying to copy what Dimitri very nearly did earlier on in the game with what would have been a ridiculous angle, but it's not going to happen. With 30 seconds to go, it's looking very much like we're going to see Neat on the board in terms of games, but it's still not over just yet. There may be one more attack left in Montezuma. Crisp's going to go up, going to go to Jazz. Jazz with little boost to work with, finds a man in the middle. That man is Wicks, but nothing comes of it because Nova there to stop it once again. Very defensive this game has Nova been, and he's been exactly what his team has wanted. Smashy with the assist, Crisp with the goals, Nova with the saves. A bit more complete to what we've been used to seeing, but he's got to make one more, and he does. And that should be the game. Neat are on the board, and within one game of tying things up.
Yep, they both tied up. That way they haven't tied up the series score, they have tied up the total goals scored. However, won't matter, all goals are not made equal. And Montezuma really showing that here. They have the same amount of goals, but Montezuma have 2 games on the board. Fyron finding their way back into the series here though. And they will need to replicate that in the next game. It looked like they took their foot off the gas in the end, but it could just be that they were just trying to make sure that game doesn't turn around.
Yeah, they kept everything on the line there. Nova with those 3 huge saves towards the end of game number 3. Kept Fyron in control and stopped any sort of mental swing, perhaps. They had full faith as well that they didn't want a timeout. They didn't even need to timeout. They came out flying. Chris with that quick hat-trick as well to just really put the pressure onto Montezuma. And they're going to want to be replicating that next game because they can't let Montezuma come out quickly like they did in those first 2 games. Because don't forget to them, they are still behind in the series. So they've got to come out with the exact same approach. Flying, let Crisp handle it, let Smashy go for those bumps. Let Smashy smash into people as a namesake would suggest. and keep Nova as that brick wall, I reckon they will be sorted for another game, because I don't think Montezuma have them figured out if they can keep that game plan up.
Yep, and this series looking a bit more open. It does look like the lobby has crashed, at least on my end. I'm not sure if it's for everyone right now, but yeah, we do have a full black screen, so we will just take a little moment to get the lobby set back up. But stay tuned, because when we get back, we do have some of the best action in this master tier coming right up. We have gotten straight into it, and it has been some pretty close games. This one being the furthest apart the two teams have seen, but it has been late from Firen to come back into the series. However, I did like how strong they looked in that game, and they can keep that going. They could make a run and just end this series from right here.
Yeah, I would believe if the Fire and Snowball does get going, then it will be very, very difficult to stop. But they need this game as well to just cement that they're here to stay, that wasn't just a flash in the pan, and that they can really stake their claim in the upper bracket of Master, because it is a gauntlet you've got to run. On that other side, in the uppers, you've got Vulcan, you've got Nox, and you've got Illusion. 3 pretty capable teams as well, especially with Illusion there. And you want to be at the best momentum you possibly can to beat Inferno, to beat whoever else is in front of you. But first of all, you've got this series to take care of. You've got another very capable team to take care of. And you've got to try and take control. This is going to be the pivotal game for either side. Will Montezuma go within 1 of making Sunday in the uppers? Or will Neat tie it up? Smashy with a quick shot. Not going to happen. Crisps, the goal scorer from last game, low boost to work with. That's not going to happen either. And Dimitri just waiting for that bounce, waiting for that first touch. Going to go straight to Wix. It's a bit of a heavy pass though, however, as he tried to make the idea work, but that just isn't quite going to happen this time. Smashy now sees Nova looking for that demo. Jazz with quite a, well, pretty lucky spawn. That just falls straight to Dimitri. That just falls straight in. And from completely nowhere, it's Montezuma with the lead.
All because Jazz, the mastermind, picks the perfect place to spawn in, just clears it down. Dimitri follows it up, and it's just gonna make sure that that is indeed a goal for them. They open the scoring here, and if any of the other games are anything to go by, the first team to score will be the team to close out the game. Nova gonna be looking to make sure that doesn't happen once again here. Smashy gets caught out a little bit. He won't be able to make it back, and Dimitri find a second one right off the bat.
Dimitri the marksman this game. 2 separate goals, just completely out of nowhere. Catches that defense out, catches Smashy out, puts Montezuma 2 goals up, and this is already a rare comeback that you'll see in Master. 2 goals. Like, for such a defensive tier. But there's still 4 minutes left on the board. There's still plenty of time to work with. And Firing could absolutely turn this around yet. Maybe Smashy looking to start that flip. Number 1 over the first, but not over.
Out on it. I was gonna say, how many players are just gonna flip out of that goal and make sure they get back as fast as possible? Smashy just making sure he stays there just enough to make sure he can get that goal. We did also not catch on to it. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention, but Nova, I believe, did find another goal for them, and all of a sudden this game is completely open again.
Yeah, a minute in. This is one of your highest scoring affairs in the Master tier so far. Nova going to try and find that 5th goal of the game. It stays 2-2 though for now. Smashy up into the corner, met by Jazz. Going to just go for that heavy clear now. That's going to fall straight to him again, but nothing's really going to come of that attack now. Dimitri into the middle looking for Wix, looking to catch up the defense again. That is going to happen yet again. More defensive woes for Firing as Montezuma look to drive dagger after dagger into their defense.
Yep, and 3 goals on Firen's end, all coming from pretty much the same mishaps. third man being a bit too overcommitted, not there for the shot. And sometimes that is just what's gonna make or break a game like this. You just can't be making defensive errors like that, and especially in a tier like that. As you say, the most defensive tier of all. You would think the higher you go, the more offensively capable the players are gonna get, which is true. But the biggest difference is just that defensive edge from every single team. Jazz gonna try and make a play happen here. It's gonna be Wix just waiting patiently. That touch is very poor though, and that sets up Smashy to get a play down the other end. He's not gonna go for the flip reset this time though. He's gonna try and relay it down to Nova. Crisps waited just a bit too long there. It's gonna be Dimitri to force it through. Smashy taking it to the corner. Has to beat out Jazz here. Will do so, but not without getting bumped. Wix will get a cut out here. Nova gets a force through, but Dimitri just launching it straight back down the other end.
These demos are really starting to come through from Montezuma. They seem mad because not even 30 seconds ago they had a good attack going and a team bump just completely halted it. So they're just trying to get rid of the defense as best they can as another team bump comes in, completely stopping their attack. Now we've got defensive mishaps on one side, you've got offensive on the other. Master is not looking as invincible as you'd think it would be from a outside point of view. Crisp forced to make a save. Out goes 1, goes 2, goes 3, goes 4. Doesn't quite beat Dimitri though, but that goes all the way to the other side. Now Nova with low boost with 1 touch. That just falls straight to Smashy. Wix will try and just make him awkward though. Smashy goes into the corner, tries to take it all the way to the other side. He hasn't got any boost to work with as Wix is just trying to chase him down, just trying to make him awkward. Does so. Jazz now into the middle. Can he find a man? Jazz hands it to the defense. Wanted to use that one for some time. Nova now. 1 touch, beat by Wix. Wix is going to try and find a man in the middle now as well. That's not going to happen. Crisps with the first to clear. But it is Firing who are up against it in the series and in the game. And they're going to want to find the goal quick because this could get dangerous for them.
Yeah, Smashy with a great save there on the top right corner. That one though is going to bounce off his car into the goal. And it is Dimitri to find his hat-trick in this game. Unable to do so in, I think it was game 1 or 2, was unable to get his hat-trick this time though. He will get it, and that makes it so much more hard if you're on the side of Firing. And I will say that even though they have a player like Smashy on their team, it just doesn't look like they've been on the same page for this series. Of course, they had that one game where Crisps popped off, but even in that game, it didn't really look like they were on the same page. They just made less mistakes in defense. And they really need to get it going if they want to make their way back into the series, really.
Yeah, I mean, contrary to what we said at the start, it's not been the superstars running the show. We've seen Dimitri, we've seen Crisps, and these two in Smashy and Jazz have just been trying to work off the ball instead, just letting their teammates poke the ball in, just looking for those big pop-off moments, those big chances. None of them have really gone for anything properly significant yet. Dimitri out to clear now, these final 40 seconds ticking down. And Montezuma are looking more than likely to be on triple match point so far, but Smashy may have something to say. Awkward flip reset is not going to happen though now. Crisp's up. Crisp looking for 2. Looking for that second touch. That's not going to happen either. Jazz, easy save off the backboard. Wix beats Smashy. That might be the last man gone, but Crisp is there to save it just about. Just about keeps him in that game, but they need a chance and they need one now. They've got 15 seconds to work with. They're looking for that final attack. Dimitri just makes Smashy awkward, and that might be game. Wix just playing it on the wall, just playing as awkwardly as physically possible. It's such a jarring playstyle to play against. And it will be Montezuma on triple match point, and Firing have got a mountain to climb.
What an upset this has been. Both of us had Firing taking this series by storm. Of course, that sub up or sub in from Wix did have a little bit of an impact on our decision there. But nonetheless, even with that sub, Montezuma have looked absolutely dominant in this series. And Smashy just not able to really do anything for his sides. He has been a bit of a ghost this series. And I'm not sure they can change it up going into the next game here.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm just really surprised we've not seen a timeout from Firing. It's 3 games now. They have no game left that they can lose, or they are done. It's finished. And they still find themselves either not remembering that they got a timeout or just choosing not to use it. So, I mean, I don't know the idea behind it. Maybe they got a certain strategy something to do with it, but we're going to have to see, because if it is me in their position, I would be taking that, because you've got one for a reason, just to regain a little bit. But yeah, there is confirmed no timeout from firing, and they will just play out the rest of the series with nothing really up against it. 3 games left to win, and if they can do it, it will be miraculous, but it's just not looking like it the way they've been playing in games 1, 2, and 4.
Indeed, it is going to be Wix, first man with a chance on the ball here. Has to go through Crisp, so unable to do so. Dimitri even gets dunked. Jazz though on the follow-up, shot's good, but Smashy is going to save it. It drops down. What a save from Smashy though. I mean, the first save already was insane, but the pre-jump onto the second save is just unheard of. But Wix could just make it count for naught, but it will be Nova to make sure that it doesn't go down the other end. Smashy here is not gonna pick up the boost. He is just gonna play the ball, and he will force it through, pick up that mid boost. Gonna force it down to a teammate, but Nova just not there in time. And now Smashy has to do so much. He has the flip reset, unable to get it through though. And now Nova gonna have to pick up the slack here. It will be Dimitri just to fire a shot, just test out the defense from Smashy, which holds strong this time. Nova unable to beat Jazz here. He's gonna go for the bump, not gonna find it though. Dimitri, what can you do? Not too much, but that's a paw save by Smashy. That's not what you would want to see from a player like that. Just lays it off to Wix, who places it beautifully in the top left corner.
He's done everything in this first minute, but that might have just been a step too far for Smashy. Maybe it was just time to let someone else have a save, have something, but that's not the case now, as Wix pokes it in for 1-0 for Montezuma. And yeah, it's like you've been saying, that first goal has been crucial for whichever team has found it. It is Montezuma this time, and they are looking in full control to just lay out this series in 5, but Crisp looking for the man in the middle, looking for Nova. Not going to happen. Crisp once again into it. Wix with no boost. Jazz is going to just go to the corner now and try and beat one. Nova will continue to make him awkward, and Smashy just waiting in the middle, looking for that 50. That's going to find the post, but that's not going to go any further. The 4th man trying to get involved now. Jazz and Dimitri do tangle each other up in their defensive half, but that's going to be cleared out either way. The entirety of Neat with almost full boost to work with. Smashy just ends up passing it to Wix. He passes it to Nova, who passes it to Crisps, who's looking for a play of his own, but that's not going to happen. Smashy intercepts in the midfield. Wix just trying to beat him, but that's not going to happen either. Smashy looking for the double. That's just out. That's just cleared by Dimitri. There's not really been any superstar play from anybody on Neat, save for that one game from Crisps. It just seems like a lot of the saves for Montezuma have been relatively simple.
Yeah, not have been a tough time for them, but I also think that sometimes the follow-up play from Neat has just been lacking a little bit. They've just been sitting back. They haven't taken a lot of chances, and when you're in a moment like this game could send you to the lower bracket. You kind of have to throw everything at the wall. You have to say this game. You have to just throw the game plan away. You just have to send it and take some chances, and I haven't seen that. Of course, they are enjoying a bit of pressure here, but it doesn't look like it's going to lead to anything. Crisp, though, with the back pass onto Nova. The demo is good, but this shot is just not there. Crisps could maybe make it up, but it's a save by Jazz, and as you said, it just hasn't been difficult for the side of Montezuma. And I think you can credit Firen for the fact that it hasn't been.
Yeah, Nova just couldn't make that shot work. I suppose he was in a bit of an awkward position now, but we're 5 games in. You've got to just try and speed yourself up a little, because Montezuma have been pretty much just kicking their feet at every single chance that goes towards them, knowing that it will get saved, because there's just not much threat on the goal. Nova just passes it into the midfield. That will be met by a Neat player, but nothing is going to come of the attack as Crisps onto the backboard. Ends up missing that as well, just to add more woes to it, but thankfully for them, it's not going to be a goal just yet conceded. Wix will try and challenge Smashy. Ends up beating him as well. 30 boost to work with. Goes into the middle. Finds Jazz. Finds the backboard. Almost finds the second touch. That is very close to 2-0. Now Smashy looking for that first magic moment. Will it happen? No. Denied once again. No boost. Nova looking for that follow-up shot. That's not going to happen either. And you mentioned these follow-ups. They've been there, but they've not been significant enough to warrant a threat on the defense. Now, as we go into that final minute, Smashy just faking out for Chris for that second man, who looks for the dribble, but Wix is just there to save it once again. Montezuma, military level defense right now, just looking to add no sort of leak into their watertight defense. Nova waiting in the middle, Smashy also waiting in the middle, bit of a tangle up there from two Montezuma players, but there's just not enough there from the follow-up, from Neat, and it's looking like they are going to go into Sunday in that lower bracket, unless they can find something soon. Smashy with that first dribble, with touch one, with touch two, but he just finds the post. They can't find the net, Neat, and with 20 seconds to go, it is looking like despair.
And that could just summarize up this last game, even the whole series. It just looks like Firen is gonna get something going. It's a really good outplay by Smashy, but it's just off target, and the follow-up just can't be there because it just ends up going wide. And it's for sure gonna be over here. 2 goals in 16 seconds, not gonna be found, especially not when you lose the kickoff. Dimitri just running as much time off the clock as possible. Jazz gonna do the same here. It's not even gonna be difficult for him. Sure, Crisp can cut it out, but the time is up. You are going to the lower bracket. Montezuma will be meeting Inferno in that upper bracket come Sunday.
And that'll be some tie between those two, because Inferno have been on some sort of run, and those two are in the same conference as well. They're going to be friendly with each other. They know exactly how each other plays. And for a spot in the top 3 for either of them as well, that is huge. But the better team on the night tonight is Montezuma, overfiring in what, well, in our terms, in our predictions terms, will be considered an upset, but from the way it looked on the field, it looked anything but.
Yeah, it's been pretty one-sided tonight. And, well, the only takeaway here is you don't know what to expect come Sunday. I think Firen should be pretty comfortable down in that lower bracket come the first round, maybe even the second round. But after that, I don't even know how far they can make it. I don't even know how they would face up against other opponents in this tier. Because with a performance like that, it just doesn't look like you're a team, really. And that opens things up for anyone in the lower bracket who has been watching this series and seeing the kind of opposition they have to face.
Yeah, some of these other master teams are just going to be licking their lips, knowing that if they play like today, if Firen play like they do today, then it's just not going to be cut out for them going further. I still do back them to beat Berserkers, but I don't know if they are going to go much further than that, because the loser of Vulcan or Nox, or Vulcan or Nox versus Illusion, the loser of that will end up dropping down. And I just can't see any of them losing to a Firen that played the way they did tonight. But we'll have to see. That's today done. That's quite some day done. I don't know if we have a series MVP on the line, but if I had to bet, it would probably be Dimitri, who seemed to be very, very prolific in front of net today. But we'll have a little look right now. It is, in fact, Dimitri. Almost just short of 2,000 points in 5 games. What a performance from him. Just proves that it isn't all superstar status. It's not all going to be Jazz. And he makes a statement as a player to watch out for come Sunday.
Indeed he is, and he looked absolutely brilliant here tonight. Even though I would say Jazz just setting up everything, Dimitri was so clinical on the counterattacks, on the follow-ups, and he's definitely going to be a teammate that Jazz is very happy to have on his side come Sunday. But without further ado, Sheep, I don't know if you have anything you want to add. But I don't really have anything to add here. I've really summarized the whole series already.
Well, I'm going to go a bit off topic. I've got a little bit to add about the other day. I'm going to apologise to certain Mr. Conflict after absolutely rinsing him throughout about 3 separate series. So, Conflict, do apologise. You played decently, fair enough. You played well, you got second. But, yeah, even still. Yeah, it was a bit over-flaming, you could say. But anyway, that's that. And that's also that for today. And it has been this might be one of the first days where we've not had a single game 7, which is unbelievable. I guess it just shows how close every single series has been so far in just about every tier. But that will be it for today. You will see us with more Mutter tomorrow. We'll end up kicking off Friday with Tempest against Aussie. And that's me done. Veiled, I'm going to guess that's you done as well. And unless you have got anything more to say, then we'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, just a quick shout out to the sponsors, of course.
Oh, yeah.
LTXAcademy for some coaching, and we do have SpartanWare if you want to pick up some gaming equipment, some jerseys. There's a lot of different franchises on there. There's also RSC themselves, if that's one thing that you want to pick up. There's also if you want to pick something up. I don't have the sponsorship. If you want to pick something up from the Epic Store, make sure to use code RSC-eu. And I think Badass Studios is gonna be the last one. And that's me done. Without further ado, yeah. Have a good evening, everyone. And I've been Wild, and Beeping Sheep has been on my side.
Do you struggle to rank up in Rocket League? Are you stuck in Diamond while your other friends flex their SSL title? Well, look no further. I have partnered up with LTXAcademy as a coach, and we are ready to boost your gameplay. With multiple tournaments and trophies won and thousands of dollars earned, I will tailor to your needs and make sure you get to that next level. I'm also doing discounted prices for the first 10 days, so you do not want to miss out. And you are also probably thinking,
CMOS, how do I book a session with you?
well, that's